All right, let's go.
Here's even the kicker. Looking at private videos that are part of the police file.
The authorities also have messages that the Tate brothers have exchanged amongst them. So apparently there are chat logs. Why would the Tates admit to their crimes in chat logs? Like, who does that?
Everybody.
Surprisingly, a lot of people. I have seen this happens all the time, probably because of the fact that they do not expect
to get caught.
That the authorities have access to their chat logs. I have seen people saying, well, that this is not a threat. And my question to you is, okay.
I don't know actually if Big Ack. I don't know if he is a big Andrew Tate supporter, by the way. He
Big Ack.
Cannot be. I'm not sure.
Big Ack.
Think about Tate.
That's what I think about you. That's what I be laughing when you
This
say
is some
like,
insane levels of cope, dude. No shot.
Remember when you did the interview with him? Like, that's the first time I ever seen that dude. He did talk about corruption and not a joking way.
Bro, why? Oh my God!
Today we are reacting to the judge's order on Andrew Tate.
Jesus.
I've gotten some backlash from some incels on our channel about Andrew Tate. I had one guy say, so sad that a lawyer is jealous of Andrew Tate. He'll never reach his level. I hope not. I don't want to be in a Romanian jail cell where 56 other guys are the same toilet that's in the middle of the fucking room. I hope I don't reach his level. Some of the detractors have been saying that I take things out of context and, you know, what color is your Bugatti? And whatever. And so I am going to kind of break down what the judge said.
Probably his, unironically.
And I think I already did a thing about taking things out of context. But let's talk about what the judge focused on in determining the decision to keep him detained. First of all, Romania is a country that's part of the International Convention Against Sex Trafficking. So they're trying to standardize things across the globe because sex trafficking by its nature is borderless. In other words, if everybody has the same type of structure against sex trafficking, it should work as a kind of a global thing to prevent it. If there's a safe haven for sex traffickers, that's where they'll go. So that's what the idea is between that international convention. First, the judge references the definition of human trafficking and the protocol regarding prevention and repression and punishment. Human trafficking, especially of women and children, in addition to the United Nations Convention. The judge starts out by talking about the definition and where the law comes from. But then he starts talking about concrete danger for the public that they present. And even if the defendants are not known with criminal past, the charge represents a state of normality that cannot justify, in context of the present case, the release of the defendants at this procedural moment in relation to the high gravity.
Look at that, I can just change one word in my title.
And the creation of a criminal group organized for which they are investigated.
And it's
And then the other thing he talks about in the order is the judge talks about...
I am allergic to daylight, yeah.
You know, we had that stuff that had happened in London. Well, the judge says even though that's not a crime, it cannot be ignored. So he's using that, and he fled to this jurisdiction, and he's also using the fact that...
Wait, is he accused of shit in London too? Does Tate have a criminal issues in other countries? Or was London the people that were accusing him of, that's where he got the first girl from? That might have been, I think London might have been where he pulled the first girl from, maybe.
And he's talked.
There was a trial there?
And flaunting flight. He talks about that in his order.
If I fuck up and England wants me in jail, I can fly on a Nigerian passport, or an American, or an English, or a Polish, or an Estonian. I have so many passports. Are you gonna block them all?
Everything he is doing is consistent. But here's even the kicker. Looking at private videos that are part of the police file, from the the following passages from the context of this content, there is no doubt a deep lack of respect for the legal norms and a total indifference to the social protected values that the defendant gives proof of.
I don't know what Romanian courts are like, but trying to stand in front of an American judge, dude, you would have to humble yourself so hard. Like, sitting there listening to a judge, like, hearing you talk about, like, yeah, I'll run. I don't give a yeah, I don't care about the law. Yeah, I got 20 passports. I don't give a what are they gonna, and you have to explain to the judge, like, okay, dude, goddamn, it would be such a horrible spot to be in. Holy shit.
No, not a court in Romania. Internationally respected Romanian courts. Put me in jail. You
Get me out of jail. The law says you're guilty. I said get me out of jail. Don't go see a lawyer to talk about the law. I have committed multiple felonies. How much does it cost to make this all go away?
But also the attitude of disregard towards women in general, which he perceives only as a mean of getting his content released. In other words, making money. The judge cannot agree with the support of the defense in the sense that the video contents presents only one character and cannot be taken into account since the defendant exhibits the same attitude in the relations with the injured persons and is evident from the content of the conversations that are in these criminal prosecution files. The defense had made an argument. You can't really look at what he's saying on those videos because that's just a character that he's playing. Well, the judge has also looked at some private files. And the judge says, I can't ignore it. You know, you look in some of the thing, he shows you his 7 passports. I mean, who has 7 passports?
This is like what I was bringing up before, where it's like, these videos on their own, they're not evidence. But dude, if they get 1 or 2 real pieces of evidence on you, well, now those videos look really bad, right? I've joked a lot about like killing people or kill yourself or whatever on stream, but like it's all shit I say on stream. But you better believe the second I kill somebody in real life, okay, if I do, if I were to kill someone in real life, all of those videos in the past now are going to be looked at in a way different light, right?
And if you look at, we'll show you some video in a minute about the search. You look at the guns,
What if Tate
you look at
comes-
the passports, you look at all the other things that are on the table. He's ready to rock and roll. I mean, why does he need all this stuff?
You're going after that DDoS kid? Oh, the kid that DDoS in Nebraska? Fuck, I haven't watched it, but
Somebody
Max's
DDoS
sub is
him?
on my rotation of shit I read in the morning. Apparently, Max had a stream where he talked about the thing with the DDoS kid like 10 years ago or 11 years ago.
Oh, that guy?
Apparently, Max was saying that like I need to have my gun permit revoked, and that I was telling my fan base to go kill people, and that if they killed people, I'd be okay with it, and then I need to like, Jesus Christ. And he was saying that like if people killed him because of what I'd said 10 years ago, that I'm like signing off on it, I'd be okay with it. That's so good of me. I didn't actually watch the original videos.
Is
but
that
that's what his
Mr.
subreddit
Bro
was
when he
saying.
talks about Max?
Well, I'll tell you why, because he fled one jurisdiction and he's worried about people coming after it. Cops in general. Regarding the need to prevent the commission of another crime, purpose mentioned and enumerated paragraph 202, blah, blah, blah. The judge notes the situation by which his conduct prior to committing the act is the subject of the case. The defendant proves the real risk of repeat criminal behavior. The judge is basically saying is, if you look at some of the recent statements put out by his camp, Andrew Tate has nothing but the utmost respect for law and authority. There's nothing but the most respect for the Romanian courts.
Oh no, not a court in Romania.
Of course they're gonna say that now. But what did he flaunted it on his video. He absolutely flaunted it. Andrew Tate's videos that he made are completely biting him in the ass. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. When Andrew Tate tells you he's got 7 passports because he could go to Romania, I could go to Bulgaria, I could go to Sudan, wherever the f he says he's gonna go.
What the hell is this guy doing?
You know, and the thing that kills me, honestly, about this guy in general is the hubris. And he not only preys on these women, but he preys on these young guys with no self-esteem, and they just think he's the bee's knees. Oh, look, he's driving a Bugatti, you know, and he's doing this, he's doing that, and he just has money, hand over fist. Well, you can make money hand over fist, but if you have to look over your shoulder, that's called short money. It's absolutely short money. And so anybody out there who's paying $50 a month to Hustle University, which I don't think exists anymore, is someone that needs to look elsewhere for motivation and support. In that motivation that you're looking for, look at what he did. He started out...
Oh, hold on. Even his cam business wasn't legit.
Here's maybe the
So like, listen to this shit.
Let's
It's
hear
kind
it.
of funny it's kind of funny like, wow, LOL, you're scamming people. But like, it really does make him seem like kind of a loser. It's like the equivalent of like someone like, oh yeah, I'm a multimillionaire. Like I scammed like a ton of like grandmas and shit. Like how do you take character advice from this guy, right?
this is a bit bad. Here's where the famoose would start. So it'd be good, like I had a lot of girls who worked for me, and the best was like the Ukrainians or the Russians. It was amazing. Because they'd get some guy, fall in love, they'd arrange today to meet, all this shit, Ah, I need a visa. Okay, get a visa. I need money for a visa. Okay, how much is the visa? It's $900. No, but it's not $900 because I went to the embassy. They think I'm a risk, and I need a return flight there and back, and I need a hotel. I need to have spending money in my bank account. They won't let me come. Or how much you need? All right, 10 grand. Boom, it's 10 G's. Boom, thanks.
Wow.
Go to the embassy, take a picture outside the embassy, boom, come back. They rejected my visa. They said we have to wait 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they'll give it to me. Okay, baby, boom, 2 more weeks of tips. Boom, 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 boom. Because now he thinks he's gonna, right? Thinks he get the girls. Now he's spending more than ever. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. 2 weeks come. Some other problem. Whether it's visa, whatever. We make up some bullshit, right?
All these OnlyFans chicks can learn from you, man.
Oh, man,
no, but you know, like a free
people watch
free OnlyFans tutorial.
Yeah,
here in the DMs.
people would say, why did those girls work for you? Because the girls would work for me, and at 50%, because it was 50-50, would make millions.
What exactly is Andrew Tate accused of doing? So it's like trafficking, right? What does that mean? Like forcibly preventing women from leaving? Or like paying for women? What is he specifically alleged for doing? Like I don't know what the charges are.
Per month. If they worked for themselves, they'd make nothing. I was the best in the fucking game. Me, and I had a whole team of staff. The girl would only work 6 or 7 hours a day online.
So how did it end?
Bro, the story's just begun.
Oh,
you want me to tell you? I can shut up if you want.
Wait, you could have double dipped and started a coaching to coach these guys too, right?
I could have, but give all for free because I'm rich already. But so the girl would be online for 6 or 7 hours, but then when she logged off, was sleeping or whatever, on her WhatsApp, I'd have staff. She was online 24 hours a day. Her WhatsApp, her this. She was famoosing when she was asleep. We were bringing in money from the sky. We were promising all these meetings, all these pictures outside of embassies, all this shit. Eventually, the girl, what she would do is she'd say, oh, I don't want to go embassy. She'd give a really lame excuse to try and provoke the man to get angry. So she'd say, the embassy want me to come back, but I have a headache.
Brought girls to him under false pretenses to work for him, sexually scammed them by stealing some of the money off the top and some threats against them and their freedom. I don't think anyone knows the exact charges, but I think a handful of women have come forward with allegations against him. Okay. Take a look.
That was the one we'd use. He'd be like, I just sent you $1 million. You promised you were going to come. You said you had to delay. Now you're saying you have a headache and you won't go to your appointment. To make him mad on purpose, because that would annoy any man. And then, that's what we needed. We needed the little trigger, and we go, why are you being aggressive? I'm not being aggressive, but you're not serious, da-da-da. And then we'd say, but you know what? I really like you, and I'm flying to the other side of the world by myself, and now you're being aggressive, and now I'm intimidated. And we'd flip it on him, saying, well, now you're being scary. No, I'm not being scary, but you know, it's your appointment. You're supposed to go, yeah, but I feel sick, and you don't even care. Female bullshit. And flip it on him. Flip it on him. And he'd get furious, because we were really good at
Sides.
yeah, poking him to the point where you go like, you're a scammer, you scam me, you're really mad. I can't believe you think I was a scammer. I was gonna come, I went to the embassy, you're a liar, every man in my life has only lied to me. I thought you—
So he's a scammer. Yeah, even the cam business he ran wasn't legit. Even if he did traffic the girls, even past traffic the girls, he didn't run a legit business. He was still scamming with trafficked women.
How was he?
You were different, da-da-da. Big beef, big argument.
Yep.
Big argument.
Just by not giving him money?
The guy would get pissed off, right, and leave, stop tipping her, stop coming to her. But for these men, that's the only chick in the world, the only hot chick in the world who talks to him. Maybe it takes a week, maybe it takes 2 weeks, maybe it takes 3 weeks. He's in bed at night, alone, jerking off, looking at her old videos.
Is he talking about because the women aren't the ones who are actually messaging them, he's scamming? I agree with that. I think that's a scam.
Pictures, watching her stream again from another account so she can't see it's him, sitting there going, maybe she was going to come.
I didn't know we were counting that as the scam. You're not listening? Yeah, well, I didn't think he was counting that as the scam, though.
Maybe I just got too mad when she had a headache. Maybe I should have been a little bit more patient.
I thought it was contentious, the idea that that's a scam. Like, because so many OnlyFans content creators do that right now, I thought it was contentious that that was a scam. It's not a scam if the people deserve it? Huh? Isn't that like the default for OnlyFans girls? Right, which is why I thought it was a contentious point as to whether or not it was a scam. I agree, it's obviously a scam. It's a terrible scam. I straight up on God, I think that shit's worse than gambling on Twitch. But yeah, it's a scam.
And she would have been my girlfriend. And 100% of the time, in less than 3 months, with an apology, a brand new pile of money, and the cycle would repeat. We f***ing killed the game. Millions of dollars a week. And it was not just because I had beautiful girls. It's not because webcam is easy. It's because I am a genius. And I put together an apparatus of genius behind the avatar of beauty. And we f***ing conquered the internet.
Oh, I see.
He's just a scammer. I mean, like, I guess it's impressive, but like, yeah, it's just, all of it is just scamming on scamming on scamming on scamming. Like, that's all it is. Like, now I just see the story of how he, like, defrauded his taxes and then, like, doubled his deposits at the bank by scamming the bank, too. Like, that's all it is. Like, it's insane.
Being successful as a fighter. You don't make a lot of money as a professional.
Oh, I thought that was a part of the lawyer's video.
He wound up with, when he got done with the fight game, he had 70 grand to his name.
You're down. You're out, Mike.
He blew
You're
30 of it, trying to gamble it to try to get a place in Thailand. And it was left with $40,000 left. He was going for the quick money. He was selling drugs for a short time.
But fighting wasn't paying the bills, sold drugs, whatever.
And then he does this webcam thing and didn't do it. I mean, the webcam business is not illegal by itself. But to do it the way he did it, and with the deception and the fraud that he engaged in, because that's his MO. That's his MO. He has to get the quick money because he didn't have the skill. Well, you know, I want to say he didn't have the skill set to do it right, but he probably did. But just he got greedy, and you know, I mean, why would you tie up all your money in 33 cars? As he said, I think they just seized another 4 vehicles. He's put him.
Hold up. What did you? Do you have a really weird sitting posture and a really long ass body, or are you standing? What the fuck are you talking? Do you think I sit in a high chair? What are you talking about? Do you think I have like a 3 foot tall high chair? Oh my god. Oh my god.
In a very vulnerable position by engaging in criminal activity.
I like standing.
When you break the law, you give the government a foray into your life, right? You just do, because you give the government the ability to then
look into
control your life. And who's controlling where he is and what he's doing. Had he done this the proper way, and I don't know what that means exactly, because I'm not in the webcam business. The guys that are looking at him as an idol, and there are a lot of you out there. There are a lot of you out there.
I
don't have,
technically?
you know, Bugatti money.
I do.
But you know what? If I had to do what Andrew Tate did, I wouldn't want Bugatti money. Even if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't buy a Bugatti. When you set up your program, whatever your program is, go to work, start your own business, whatever you're doing, you got to do it so that it isn't like Andrew. So I mean, he's vulnerable himself. Okay, let's look at what he did. His first victims were addicts, right? Drug addicts. Second victims, you know, and he's always doing something in the back of people. The second victims were the ladies that he was keeping there. And I know some people said they were free to leave at any time. Bullshit. They wouldn't have a case if they weren't. You got 6 people who said they weren't. But then the third victim was you guys.
6
You guys had signed up for Hustle University. You were hustled. I mean, you were
Finessed.
online, and he was feeding what you needed to hear. And unfortunately, it was BS. It was absolutely BS. You know, I know it's fashionable in some circles to be full of bravado and say, oh, my.
You have tons of women on Twitch scamming lonely guys as we speak, and no one gives a fuck. This is false outrage. I don't think people are just upset about the scamming. I think they're also pretty upset about the trafficking allegations. I think it's just about the scams there, brother. But I agree with you that we should care about people getting scammed wherever they're scammed. But, yeah, I think this is a bit of a unique situation compared to your local hot tub streamer.
Bitch is doing this or that and have this persona. But you know what's even better than that? Is being revered for being a hard-working son of a bitch and providing for the people around you and having their admiration. That short circle of people. And there's nothing beats that. You know, I have a family that sits around me, and I try to make sure every one of them is taken care of.
Momo, thank you for the 2 months.
I do it through legitimate means. And, you know, it wasn't easy for me to go to law school. You know, when I went to law school, I had shitty grades coming out of college. I didn't think I'd get in. And when I got in, I thought they were going to put their hand on my shoulder and say, look, we made a mistake. But I worked my ass off, and I really liked law school.
There's something to be said for making an honest living, as cringy as it sounds, because we all want to be gangsters, obviously. But, like, you got to figure that, like, if you surround yourself with people like the people that Andrew Tate has surrounded himself with, like, it's just a matter of time before everything comes crashing down, and, like, everybody around him is going to descend like wolves, and his, like, he's not going to, nobody's going to character vouch for him, except for people who can, like, make a buck doing it, right? Like the red pill dudes online. But, like, I doubt Andrew Tate is, like, a real friend in the world. Maybe his brother, maybe, but...
School, and I grinded it out, and it was like 7 years between my first year of college until the end of law school. And by doing that, guess what? I was able to set up my law practice, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and I have all the trappings of a good life. That is solid. That's where you need to be. So when you look at the decisions that Andrew Tate has made, he's made his bed. And his bed is right now with about 56 other guys in a single room with a toilet in the middle. The next phase for him will be to face the charges, and we'll follow
this guy's cool.
So he isn't getting out. The judge has used his videos against him that were in the police file.
No way.
Rejected all the defense. And I wouldn't be shocked if all of a sudden he winds up
His
with
brother probably flipped on him fast.
He is.
I don't know.
Unless off camera, he's really understanding how much trouble he's in. I heard this. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I heard he could be looking at up to 14 years. I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is he is looking at a boatload of time. He's looking at the better part of 10 years. And
it's actually not that much time. I thought it would be like 30.
At the end of the day, just be good to the people around you. Work your ass off. You know, have a program that can't, you know, you don't have to look behind you. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Patreon. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Would my brother flip on me if I was running a sex ring? Would he flip on me to the cops? If it meant that he might get time, yeah, but he would probably spend most of his time trying to convince me to stop doing it and call me like a degenerate and shit. Yeah, and probably just make fun of me the entire time. Yeah, probably. I don't think he would, like, turn me into the cops. He would first and foremost try and reason with me and work with me to try and stop me from doing what I'm doing. But the moment that, like, he would receive time if he didn't, you know, speak honestly, he probably would.
He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058.
What is this song?
Or as well as some of the evidence that they have gathered. And it creates a bit of a different image than what the Western media is trying to suggest, because from what I saw, a lot of people on Twitter believe that the Tate brothers had a dungeon in their basement and they were chaining women, and that's not the case. That's not what the authorities are investigating for.
Is this infrared in a couple months?
As I said in a previous video, they are investigating them for what they like to call the lover boy method. The lover boy method is when rich and
Western media gets it
people
wrong.
Manage to find weak-willed and vulnerable women online, and then they lock them in a place, in a house, and they constrain them to do various sexual acts. And in this case, the authorities are claiming that the business, which the Tate...
Explain to me the faux distinction between being conservative and expressing conservative opinions. Saying that, like, I'm gonna ban people for having too conservative opinions, like anti-vax or whatever, is different than saying I'm gonna ban you for being conservative. The first one seems kind of shitty, but it's at least avoidable when we're talking about certain things. The second one seems like an ideological, systematic targeting of a certain group of people. I think there's a bit of a difference.
Brothers operated, and that was to sell naughty pictures.
Well, I just think a simple difference that people can hold on to, because I remember this discourse at one point was being had that Destiny was going through. I think the real tangible difference is, for instance, I make political content. If I wanted to make non-political content, let's say on Twitter or Facebook, or if I stopped posting political content on YouTube and I just wanted to do, I don't know, video game streams on YouTube, and I did that, then if YouTube banned me because of my political content on the other platform, right? Because of my political leanings on other platforms, because they thought I was a conservative or a liberal or something like that. It's like, okay, this guy clearly is a liberal, even though he has no content relating to him being liberal on our site. Doesn't matter, he's a liberal, get him gone. Like, that's pretty cringe in comparison to if I had to bring over some of my hedonistic liberal values to the site in order to get banned. I think there is a pretty meaningful, tangible difference there.
Online may have been done without the consent of the women involved. And apparently there's 4 women that are pressing charges.
I have an editor.
We're going to look at what one of them is saying. The first 3 are saying that they have been pressured and constrained through various psychological methods in order to do these images, while the 4th one claims that she was actually raped. Now, the judge, regarding the rape accusation, said that they require more evidence, but they're still looking into it. While regarding the first 3 cases, the women apparently went to psychological evaluations, and
Can you give an update on how far you are now? Wait, hold on. Okay. So that we can all follow along, okay? I've done all of these basic sciences on Earth. Automation, logistic, chemical, rocket, military. I've done the first space science. I've done the utility and the production science. I've done all 4 biological, all 4 material, all 4 energy. 3 of these astronomic, so I need to do astronomic 4, and then all I have left are these 4 deep space ones. And I'm done, okay? Just this final frontier. Just these, okay? Just these.
God, this shit seems so cringe and like way too much work.
All right.
The experts said that yes, they do seem to be like victims who have undergone psychological abuse, and the authorities also have messages that the Tate brothers have exchanged amongst them. So apparently there are chat logs and other type of evidence that the press does not have yet, but this is why
I just let him handle it,
certain,
Tequila Boy.
that something has happened, and why they asked the judge to extend their detainment period to 30 days. So again, it's not just the Tate brothers that are being accused of this. It's also 2 other women that did work with the Tate brothers. I made a video called, they are called by the press Tate's Angels, and apparently these were the women that were surveilling and also coordinating the activity of exploitation. So let's look at what the authorities have to say about one of these victims. Apparently, by looking at the chat logs that went between her and the Tate brothers, it seems that Andrew Tate have misguided her in believing that they're going to have a relationship together. And he also misguided her by showing false feelings towards her in order to attract her to come to Romania. So the women in question...
So he literally, like, wooed a woman into coming to Romania. All right? Okay, I'm with it, Show me a little more.
Has told the investigators that Andrew Tate told her that he was living in a house with other men that he has business relationships with, and that it would be best for her if she could stay in a different apartment with him. And this got her to travel all the way into the country where she found out that she wasn't going to be living with Tate in the apartment, but she was going to live with one of his acolytes. So this other woman has took the person making the accusation from the airport and took her into an apartment where she found out that there were actually many other girls that were working for the Tate brothers. So basically from the snippet, she is alleging that Andrew Tate pretended to want to have a relationship with her, asked for her to come to Romania so they can live together in an apartment. But once she got into Romania, she noticed that a different woman took her from the airport and got her into an apartment where a lot of other girls were doing video chatting and they were working for Andrew Tate. Something that she claims she did not consent to, something that she...
Do you know who this guy sounds like?
When it lands, that means paying debt, vanish, fucking fade, anything that you can use to reset aggro.
What?
At 40%, you will stop dots.
What are you
Until
saying?
then, you will throw more dots.
Did not want to do. So this is just a snippet of the accusation, but again,
just a little bit.
The entire investigation is based on the fact that these women were psychologically constrained.
Like the video, like the video, like the video. If you like me streaming on YouTube, if you want to see more content that is banned, off limits, completely kaput on Twitch, like the fucking video, boost the algorithm. It allows me to more consistently put out the content, okay? Like the fucking video.
To do this job. They had these two other women, the angels of Tate, as they are called, who were trying to persuade them to actually do these pictures, who didn't allow...
Which one, Fino? Do you want to link it? I haven't seen which clip you're talking about.
...them to leave the house, who were pretty much acting like pimps. I don't know if the passports of any of these ladies were taken away, because if that took place, then it's going to be...
super bad.
...charges we're going to look at. But again, there are 3 different women that have came out and issued the same accusation, as well as the fact that the investigators, they claim they have access to various chat logs, and they...
Average Darius...
What's the most disgusting thing in your room? Probably the fleshlight, bro. I didn't know it was like hairy. Like, why is it...
Oh god. Oh god. It's so fucking gross. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. It was within arm's reach. I need to watch the whole thing? We're watching it off stream.
What's the most disgusting thing in your room? Probably the fleshlight, bro. I didn't know it was like hairy. Like, why is it hairy, bro? And I actually haven't cleaned it, so check this out.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god, that was so gross. That was so fucking disgusting. Oh my lord, that was fucking gross. Dude, I haven't been that close to throwing up from seeing something in a very long time. Holy shit, that was bad.
Take into account that it's not just the Tate brothers that are being arrested, it's 2 other girls that are under investigation. But again, with that out of the way, the Tate brothers are still innocent until proven guilty. There has not been a trial yet. They haven't even seen the actual evidence that's gathered against them. This is just what's being leaked to the press. And it's a standard procedure here in Romania. It should not happen, by the way. This investigation should be done in secret until the trial. But unfortunately, this is standard practice for Romanian law. It's not just with Tate. Whenever we have a politician, whenever we have a famous person, whenever there's someone of public interest, the reporters are already there when the detaining happens.
Wait, somebody gave me $5. Dog eat dog. Thank you for the $5 at the most opportune time when I was looking at a grown man's hairy fleshlight that was not washed. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5.
The reporters have access
Supporting
to
the stream.
knowledge that should be secret, that only the investigator should have. And all of this is done in order to show that the police is doing their job, that the long arm of the law exists. And many times in the public mind, like for example, in the situation that the Tate brothers would be found innocent, in the
Relevant, do you think if Andrew Tate is proven to be guilty, will, I'm assuming you mean Sneeko and not sneaking, change his ways? No shot. Sneeko will say it's a conspiracy. He will say it's a conspiracy. Andrew Tate is innocent, free the mans. He might go on some, like, these woke lefties talking about BLM and some shit, letting an innocent black man getting locked up because they're a bunch of hypocrites. He'll try fucking everything in the bag for sure. I don't have really faith in Sneeko to be able to come around on that one.
public mind, still the image with them walking with the police with bracelets on, and most of the public will think that they're guilty, even in the case that they are found innocent. And I'm saying this again, like this has nothing to do with this particular situation. I'm basing this on things that happened previously with other public figures, with other politicians, like this scandal, the spectacle that they're making. While it is to make the police and the authorities look good, it does hurt the individual, which is why the investigation should be held in secret. If you do believe it innocent until proven guilty, right? When the cops go to arrest someone, or when the cops go to knock at someone's door, you should.
Is this true at all? Aren't arrest and investigations typically public info, unless you're talking about Romania specifically? I have no idea. I don't believe investigations are public. Usually that stuff is made public, even in the United States, at the time of the trial. That's usually when it happens.
To have the press there. Like, the press shouldn't even know it's happening. Sure, like, the press could report on it afterwards. But, like, showing someone with handcuffs in front of their families, their friends, completely ruins their reputation. And I'm not talking about the Tates. Again, like,
I want to hear academic scope on this. Hold on.
every single person that's of high profile in my country. And the law says that it shouldn't. But, well, who's going to be held responsible? Now, what's interesting is that I thought the judge in question, who is trying to extend the detainment of the Tate brothers for 30 days.
Played this video at 0.5 speed for 30 seconds? Okay, I have no idea why. Okay, we'll do 30 seconds in the video time, so a minute IRL.
Is going to do that because the Tates are a flight risk. Which they definitely are. I mean...
They bragged about it.
Have dual citizenship. They have private jets. They're very rich people. Right? So I thought that's why they're going to try and detain them for 30 days. But apparently the judge says that, no, that's not the case. Despite them having no previous criminal record, they are also being investigated by the authorities in Great Britain. And I'm like...
Alright, we're good, right? 30 seconds in video time. Yeah, 30 seconds in video time, 1 minute IRL. Alright.
Okay, but so what? Like, they're not convicted of anything in Great Britain. Why would you say that you need to detain their freedom because another country is investigating them for something? They do claim that, well, the investigation...
Oh, I wonder if the reason why they would claim that is because they don't want somebody extraditing them to Great Britain. They want to be able to charge them with what they've got here. Like, they want they have the jurisdiction for these crimes, and they don't want them to get extradited to their home country and get preferential treatment, maybe, right? Like, imagine if I'm the state of Arkansas and I caught you as a rapist, and imagine in another state you've been charged with, like, I don't know, like burglary, right? I don't want you leaving to go to that country to stand for that bullshit and go to jail over there. I want to be able to charge you where I'm at for rape, right? I want to be able to charge you for these crimes here. That'd be my guess, but I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I'm just conjecture bullshit there.
I mean,
is also regarding the sexual nature. And because of the way that he's trying to corrupt women in order to come to Romania, where they're going to be pressured to do video chatting, he says that he's endangering the public, and I guess like public opinion would lose trust in the judicial system if they would allow Andrew Tate to remain in his freedom. I disagree with this judge ruling, to be honest. I mean, according to Romanian law, this does not mean that you should detain someone because you have innocence until proven guilty. If it was a flight risk, then yeah, that would have been different. But I guess this is why Tate's lawyers are trying to find an appeal for this decision. It probably won't work.
Do you have a legal leg to stand on in that situation if the only reason you're keeping someone is to prevent someone else from prosecuting them? I think so, right? States and stuff will fight over jurisdiction pretty often.
I feel like
saying
that's
I want to be able to prosecute these people for these crimes. Like, I'm not going to let you extradite. I think countries fight over stuff like that pretty often, right?
I think so.
Or people feel very strongly about that. That's why when there was a Chinese guy that was involved in it might have been a guy from Hong Kong that was involved in hiding a bunch of money for mobsters. They had a whole bunch of mob banks with a ton of money, and this guy was out of a dense jurisdiction. He couldn't be prosecuted, so Batman had to go and grab him.
I was literally gonna bring up the Batman thing, but I didn't think he was talking about Batman. I was gonna bring up the Dark Knight, the Hong Kong thing, because the Chinese will not extradite one of their own. I remember that. I should have brought that up. That's funny. We thought of that.
Kong, remember that scene? It was based.
I do think that they're going to just fall back on the fact that they are a flight risk. I mean, if you want to keep them for 30 days, that's the best legal reason that you can come up with. The fact that they're being investigated in another country, that doesn't matter. Unless the other country finished the investigation and found them guilty. And then you can say, okay, well, yeah, but they're wanted in UK. And then it'll be like, oh, all right, fine. But they're not wanted in UK, right? They're under investigation in UK.
Oh, no.
The fact that they left the country does not hold any legal significance. At least from the little amount of law that I know from law school. I guess like things might have changed ever since. Or maybe things are changing because it's Andrew Tate. I don't know. I have noticed there are two groups of people in the comment section. One group is accusing me that I'm not condemning Andrew Tate. And I'm not doing this in order not to upset his fans. The other group of people is accusing me that I am not saying that Andrew Tate is innocent. And because of that, I am working with the Matrix. I am with the system. And I know that this is how the Western media likes to do things. When they talk about the story, they need to constantly editorialize. I do have my own biases about this situation. I do have my own conclusions. But in this video series, I just want to
notice how he doesn't deny it.
What the Romanian press is saying. I just want to give you as an accurate of a translation.
Wait, I read a question, but I didn't actually see the answer. Who plugged Cypher into the Matrix? Is there a mechanical answer to that, or are we just supposed to accept that that's like a broken thing with no explanation? Yeah, when he visits Agent Smith in the Matrix, who plugged him in there? Okay.
And to explain the way Romania does things to other people. So I'm not interested in editorializing. Again, just because I'm not editorializing doesn't mean I don't have my own personal biases, but maybe you can get used to this type of reporting. How about you make up your own mind about the issue? How about that? Do you need me to spoon feed you with information? Do you need me to
tell that's
you
what I'm here
what's in my brain so that you know how to think? How about you listen to what's being said and you make your own conclusion? You can even get like a chat. I do not give disabilities to my chat, right? You can go into the comment section and you can talk with people. How about that? Another thing that I get is why wasn't the press so diligent when it came to Epstein? Why wasn't the press so diligent when it came to Biden? This is the Romanian press. Do you want the Romanian press to talk about your stuff from the United States, to do your investigations that CNN and Fox News and MSNBC should be doing? It's a completely different country, okay? The investigators are different. The journalists are different. I do not understand this level of criticism.
That's true. I bet there are some Zoomers who like are out there talking about like, yeah, bro, unplug from the Matrix. Like, you need to get to the Matrix, blah, 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 blah. And they're like talking about that shit. And you're like, you confront these guys like, bro, what, do you think you're Neo? And they're like, Neo? Who the is that? And I'm like, what do you mean, who's that?
Yeah,
That's Neo is? And you're like, no.
That's probably true.
What do you mean you don't know who Neo is? You're talking about unplugging from the Matrix. And they're like, yeah, the Matrix. Like the system that's controlling our lives, okay? The blue pill people. And I'm like, wait, do you know where that comes from? Yeah.
That is true. He's right. There probably is young kids that have no idea about the actual, like, Matrix shit.
Andrew Tate.
Like, why wasn't the Romanian press more interested in Epstein? I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
weren't even born when the movie came
Halfway
out.
across the world, I guess.
God, I'm
Another
old.
more reasonable question is why
God,
are
I'm
the
old.
investigators leaking information to the press? And this is a Romanian problem.
Wait, why do I not have this
It doesn't
researched
only
yet?
happen to Andrew Tate, it happens to almost any famous person or politician that's being investigated.
Why I don't care.
Legally, it should not happen. Legally, the investigation should be done in secret.
Look at how cute my lab
However,
setup is. Oh, so
they
nice.
do create this media circus, and you realize that it's a circus because they constantly leak all of these chat logs every single day. They do not just release all the information they have. They do this slow leaking in order to keep the public attention to this case as much as possible.
Bro, talk about the
Why
leaks.
do they do it? Well, probably to show that the authorities are competent, because I've seen them doing it regardless of the politician or the famous person that's under investigation.
Energy
They
beaming.
do it
Yes.
also to form the court of public opinion, which leads to the next question. Are these chat logs real? We can't tell for sure because you don't have access to the what the investigators have.
Wait, why is this
But
not
looking
researching?
at the past, overwhelmingly they were real. However, many
Energy
times they
3.
do not stand up in court because the court requires evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt in order to convict someone of a crime. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion doesn't require that. So, for example, you can have a person that admits to committing a crime on
Dude,
WhatsApp.
he needs to fucking mute his mic whenever he drinks Soylent. It's the most gross shit in the world to hear him just... Every time he fucking drinks Soylent. It's so gross.
But when in court, they can say, well, I was joking. I wasn't talking seriously. They can say that the context was of a different nature. They can say that someone else used their phone. So as you can see, when you are actually faced with criminal charges, because of the burden of proof being a lot more severe than in the court of...
Okay, I don't know. This guy's just talking to his chat at this point. I can't with this fucking shit.
This is your defense, and that's leaks that it's kind of coming through.
Hold up, we'll skip
You
a little
have-
bit into it.
People who are, oh, you know, change your gender and do all these things, and it's like there's a time and a place for that, and to force it upon people who makes them feel uncomfortable, like that's also unfair as well. And for me to be forced to accept it, that's also like, why do I have to accept this man in the bathroom?
I don't believe that you care about that. I don't believe any conservative say, because if it was, where the fuck was the uproar against all of the creepy fucking pageant shows before the trans bathroom shit became a thing? Because of that issue, I will never believe a conservative when they tell me they care about trans kids being groomed or whatever. I just don't believe it. I think it's a niche issue because Republicans have no economic platform. Republicans have no fucking goals for the country. All they can do is obstruct Democrats. They have no idea about what they want to do with anything. So they focus on these really niche fucking cultural issues. There was a survey that came out asking what percentage of the American population do you think is trans? And I think people said like 24%.
Insane.
Holy shit. I like, there are some people
Is
where I
that
buy the
true?
argument that they're obsessed or they're worried about like kids or whatever. But like prior to this, like people would post pictures of taking their like 9-year-old boys to Hooters and it would be a funny fucking Facebook picture. Or you have all of the really creepy, really weird pageantry shit. And nobody seemed to care about any of it back then. But now that trans people are involved, it's like the worst thing ever. So I just don't buy it. I don't believe it. But
Let's leave that there, right there. Okay, so you getting back to the Vice episode, you started off by saying the trans thing, the women in the trans in sports was the one thing you agreed with Pearl on. What did you fundamentally disagree that Pearl said? Because she's a pretty reasonable girl. What did you disagree with?
oh man, you're gonna tax my memory here. I think that the wholesale idea of like women have it easier in every single thing, or there are like no cultural roadblocks preventing women from doing anything, I think is like a really crude analysis of where we're at socially. That's what I would say.
So you're saying that she's discounting how
Yeah,
hard
I think
women
that there
are?
are issues that women face in a lot of different areas when it comes to like rising in terms of success or in being included in certain like
Okay,
types
so
of...
this is a very interesting dynamic that you guys have going right now. You're the man saying that like defending women, and she's the woman shitting on women, essentially. Is that the dynamic?
Dude, I hope Destiny says this. It doesn't like he's not that type of lefty. He's not that type of like liberal, where he's like gonna be like, well, you know what, women can be dumb too. Men can be smart and women can be dumb. Like, Jesus.
Understanding? So she's basically saying this is what it is like to be a woman.
I wouldn't say shitty. I would say there's no barriers to entry today.
I don't think Pearl believes there's no issues that women face. That's different, right?
No, that's literally what she just said. There's no barriers.
No, literally what she said was it's easier for women than men.
No, there's a difference between there's no barriers to entry and there's no issues that a woman can face.
That's
you
true.
wouldn't say there's no issues a woman can face, is there? Would you?
I mean, there are issues that women face, but
Yeah,
I would say
exactly.
overall it's easier for women than men. Yeah.
I would
Like,
probably agree.
Easier in what regard? What are we talking about here?
I mean, I just think
Just being a man versus being a woman, you're saying it's easier to be a woman?
I mean, okay, I'll give you an example. So I worked a sales job, right?
Yeah.
And when I worked in that sales job, it was at a big like corporate company, and I feel like I got special treatment because I was a woman, and most of the guys, and I was the only girl in the office, and most of the guys would agree because like people were more willing to help you when you're a young woman. In my experience.
So I can't speak to your personal experience, but so this is something that I hear a lot. When women are succeeding in certain types of environments, they do get special treatment, but all of those women's careers have a time limit on them, which is until a manager or a boss tries to fuck them, and when they say no, they're basically fucked in that job. This is a story that I hear time and time and time and time and time again. Do you think this happens ever?
Quite often the boss loses his job.
No. Absolutely
Every
not.
time there's a story about it.
Absolutely.
Sexual
Every time the
harassment?
story goes public, but you don't hear the story that goes public. Like this happens to. I've heard this from almost every single woman.
I feel like Destiny needs to work on looking at people when he's talking. I feel like when he's talking, he's like doing like this and he's looking at the ground or whatever. I feel like it does him a disservice. I feel like if he looks people in the eye a little bit more, it'll come off a little bit different. He looks a bit anxious. I don't think he is. I think he's quite in his element, but he looks very anxious.
Working in entertainment and working in any industry peripheral to this, that if you're a moderately attractive woman working, yeah, like you're working, you might be succeeding, but you never know if you're actually succeeding based on the merits of your work or if it's because somebody wants to fuck you. And when somebody tries to fuck you, if you shut them down, you're fucked. Because whoever's above you hates you now and they're never going to fucking promote you or work with you anymore. And then you slowly basically get ghosted out of whatever job you're working.
You can go either way, or you go to HR and you make $1 million.
Do what?
Or you go to HR and the dude gets fired and then you get a settlement.
That just doesn't happen most of the time. I think with especially like PUA, red pill guys live in this delusional world where like every guy's getting false sex claims, every creepy boss or pervert is getting fired.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, this happens like 0.0001% of the time. Like it's very, very rare that somebody actually gets caught or called out on this. Because usually when these guys are propositioning, you don't even, they're not really even being 100% forward with it, right? So you're not going to get them on anything, right?
Actually, 8% of the U.S. population claims they've been falsely accused.
That's
claims.
Okay. But with
Wait,
that poll, was that poll falsely accused?
Wait, claims they have been falsely accused? 8% of the U.S. pop claims they have been falsely accused. Of what percent of those are accurate claims of false accusations? Because obviously, if they did it, they're going to claim it was a false accusation, right? So I'm not sure that says anything, right? I don't know. Maybe she misquoted it or something. Maybe
Police?
I misheard.
Or was that poll like my friend told another friend that somebody like raped me?
It was probably the latter.
It was absolutely the latter. Because 8% of false rape allegations to the police, everybody would be talking about it. I know that's not true.
Yeah, I agree with you on the false rape accusations. You're as likely to get convicted as you are to get struck by lightning. I've read that stat.
Huh. So again, you disagree with Pearl on the fundamental situation that women have it easier than men. Here's my perspective. Argue, counterback, pushback. I always ask this question. I said, who has it harder out there, men or women? And constantly I hear, well, men have it harder, bro. We got to fucking dig the ditches. We got to have the tough jobs. We're the one that got to pay the bills. Men have it harder. And I said, little food for thought. Here's why I think women have it harder in today's society. I want to open it up to you guys. As a man, I'm all about clarity. As a man, it might be hard to make money, to be fit, to learn game, to pick up chicks, to be successful. It might be hard, but at least you know the pattern for success. At least there's a blueprint. Here's what you need to do. put a fucking nice suit on or some nice sweatpants for Destiny, look good, get your ass out there, meet people, succeed, make money. The world's your oyster. Now,
Well, how do you make money? Like, he just skipped over the hard part. Make money, succeed. How? He's kind of just skipped over the hard part, but okay.
What's your advice to women? Is it get out there, get a career, get a job, kill it? Maybe. Or is it be a good wife, be submissive, don't be a fucking bitch, like don't go on OnlyFans, be a good housewife, stay in the kitchen, be a traditional woman? Which one is it? Because it's totally polarizing opposite advice for women. So again, I'm all about clarity. It's very easy for me to look in the camera, talk to you guys out there and be like, you're too fat, you're too lazy, stop smoking weed, stop watching porn, get your ass out there, work, do your thing. You'll find success. Done. Blueprint. As a woman, what do you say to a woman? Go get a job, go to college, be a boss, babe. Now you're single and lonely at 40. Hey, don't get a job, you know, get yourself a husband,
Well, my issue is that I'm not sure. So in the capacities as he's talking about, you're single and you're lonely at 40 or whatever because you went on your boss babe shit. That is, you know, a significant problem. And I actually agree with the way that he expressed it. I think the way that he put it is actually very nice. That women have, like, they can't pick the same path that men can to have the same outcomes that men can, because men are valued for what they produce and provide. It means, and everybody kind of has to produce and provide to some degree for themselves. It makes it very easy for me because all I have to do is stay on that trajectory. I don't really have to do on it. But with women, you know, it's your production and your what you provide is something more like your youth, your ability to provide for kids, your nurturing shit, and it's not really such a direct path. And so you have those two things. Do I go for more of the masculine route, the man's route, go full steam into a career, and then, you know, risk losing the years that most men find me to be the most valuable, or like, what am I doing? But it's also a reciprocal thing. Because these women who go through these very esteemed careers don't want to date down economically, and they kind of leave themselves hung out to dry. Because every single guy who's making a similar amount of money to them is like fucking 20-year-olds or already married. They're not going to want to fuck a 30-year-old who has a PhD. It doesn't really make sense. So I agree. It's kind of a, women have more choices with more consequences there, whereas men only have like one real path that we kind of have to go down. Like being a good father, being a good husband is really along the same path as being a career-driven man. Like, it's not, the overlap is significant, right? Because we're seen as people who need to provide. Well, I might have to provide more resources, but it's really only one thing I have to do. And I don't really sacrifice other dimensions of my life to be able to do it. I actually like the way he put it. I thought that was pretty good. I don't really disagree with that.
Let the man lead, you be the follower. It's like, now you're divorced at 40 because you're in a sexist...
Can this happen to men who are hyper-focused on their job? They end up alone at 40? I think it can. I think you can work out a lot better as a man. Because when you're alone at 40 as a man with a bunch of resources, you could probably find a woman in her 30s that is willing to date you, because that's what men are valued for, is those resources. Resources you can continuously get through your entire life, but a woman's youth and her beauty is seen as something that diminishes severely into her late 20s, early mid 30s to late 30s, right? Wherever it might be. Quite wide gradient, but you know, that is something that is seen as diminishing over a period of time. So, yeah, I think that, yeah, generally speaking, a rich guy who is 40 and alone is going to have a significantly better time than a woman who is rich in her 40s. I think that's probably true. Can't this, I already read that. I think the point, this man isn't biologically limited to start a family at 40 while women might be. Well, that's supposed to be like a part of why we value youth amongst women. Do you think a way to remedy the problem is to push women to date down and tell men it's okay to date up and not be the main provider? Yeah, I think that's probably the easiest solution. I think that is the easiest solution, because if we allow that, then these women with PhDs aren't going to mind dating a bum like me who's like in poverty. They aren't going to mind it that much. They're going to be like, sure, as long as he's good to me, sure, we're cool. And then boom, you got magic. And you're good. You're not lonely at 30 years old because you can date somebody like me, right? One of the largest predictors for men's being single is poverty. You are poor. That is the like single largest predictor for a man being single is somebody who's consistently in poverty. And one of the largest predictors for women is being college educated and high earning. Like, just having it set way, you know, such large groups of the population could just fucking date each other is pretty good solution to that, because we're going to start valuing women more on the basis of, hey, you know, maybe you can provide something in the form of money, maybe you can, or resources, and maybe you can provide something in the form of nurturing or caring. There'll be multi-dimensional, like we want people to be, right? And obviously men will be as well, because we won't be seen as our only value is that we make more money than you. So yeah.
Marriage. So it is very hard for a woman. So my argument is it's actually a lot harder for a woman to decide what to do. What's your argument to that, Pearl?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what outcome you want. So, I mean, I think you make different choices based on the outcome you want.
Okay. So how do you know, but like this goes back to my college thing, is how do you know what your outcome you want when you're 16, 17, 18 years old?
Yes, true.
Very
Good
hard
point,
to
man.
do.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a challenge that women have. I agree with you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Wait. Hold on. You can't just... Then do you agree that women have it harder? Because that was his conclusion, is that women have it harder as a result of this. Right? Do you agree that women have it harder? I've said that if I do believe that women have it harder primarily on the basis of self-actualization, I consider to be like in financially to be like the bedrock of people. The ability for you to be able to provide for yourself is the most fundamental thing of everything. So even if we agree or we consider that men's dating shit is going in the absolute shitter, and that like all men are going to be incels by like 2040 or something, the availability to like whatever doomsday black pill shit we want to say, the availability for you to be able to provide financially for yourself is such a strong consideration, right? What matters far more to me is that men aren't graduating at nearly the rates women are. We're plummeting in that. We're plummeting in school participation and shit like that matters far more to me, because just flat out period, I'd rather be a lonely incel that can make enough money to put food on my table than I would be a dude with 100 hoes that can barely make rent. It's just not something that the availability for me, if I want to be able to make money and provide for myself, for my family, for my community, is something through my labor, accurately through my labor, not like some whatever wish-washy games or some shit, is I think one of the most important things to me, and I think women are at a severe disadvantage when it comes to it.
I don't like the saying like one is harder or one is easier. I think that women have very unique challenges they face. I think men have unique challenges.
I think this is the more correct position to have, but like to just not leave it up to saying which one is harder or easier. But if being held to the fire, which I hope the host does, I want to see what he has to say. Maybe he won't stake a claim. Maybe he won't be when held to the fire. But I think when held to the fire, that would be my position.
Challenges they face. I don't know if I would ever say that one is harder or one is easier. Like, if you are a pretty woman, you can get your feet in the door in a lot of different ways that men can't.
But then you get sexually harassed.
But then there's the trade-off, is that everybody's trying to fuck you, right? That's a pro, everybody's trying to fuck you, but it's also a big con that everybody's trying to fuck you. I think of all like the archetypes of women that I've met in my life, I feel like really hard-working but very pretty women have it probably the worst because they're constantly gaslighting themselves into having no idea if they're actually achieving or being successful, or if everybody's just like basically giving them hand up.
What do you say?
Women life. I feel like really hardworking but very pretty women have it probably the worst, because they're constantly gaslighting themselves into having no idea if they're actually achieving or, you know, being successful, or if everybody's just like basically giving them handouts because they want to fuck them eventually. And like living in that kind of like duality is a very, very confusing place to be. Like as a man, like if I'm getting credit.
No, I completely disagree. I don't agree with that one. As the worst for what? Women or for people? No, I completely disagree with that. I think being a man who is born into poverty, who, I literally think just being a man who is born into poverty is worse than being a pretty woman who is a hard worker. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, straight up. Yeah, I believe that. I would take being gaslit as to whether or not my achievements are mine any day in comparison to like being start on fucking like ultra nightmare and having to build up like wealth from like a negative point, probably being pressured out of school at an incredibly early age to provide for my family. I would take that infinitely. I would take that. Yeah. Again, I consider material circumstances to be considerably. Ugly, poor women. That is a fucked category. Ugly, poor women. Allah. That is a fucked category. Because you don't have the, man, seeing every day, being faced every day with the advantages that you would have had if you just were a little bit more attractive at spawn, and having to deal with that reality. Oh my God. Jesus, that would fucking suck. And then being poor and having to work hard to be able to maintain that. So you have to embody the existence of a career woman, quote unquote, in order to get yourself out of a financially destructive position. But also that puts you in a position where you can't be seen as the nurturing whatever woman that, like, with her youth to be able to, you know, go find a man or whatever. It's going to be harder for you to find people who are willing to just even fucking date you in general. Man, that's fucking, that shit sucks. That shit sucks. There's no way out if you're ugly and poor as a man. What are you fucking talking about? This is just not true. What do you mean? You can work a job. What do you mean? It's going to be harder to work a job and to get these position, any kind of position of financial stability for an ugly woman than an ugly man, because women are more valued based on their physical appearance. You are going to catch more shit as an ugly woman than you are as an ugly man. I mean, think about all of the ugly dudes who are fucking juicing it at the top of companies, man. Like, think about that. Really think about that. Men have labor buff? Yeah, like I am valued on what I provide and what I can provide, not on my looks, which means if I'm ugly but I provide, I'm still considered valuable. A woman who provides but is ugly is like kind of maybe valuable to certain people who are a little bit more progressive and shit. Like, that shit is annoying. There is no comeback kid strategy there. If you're a truly deeply ugly woman, there's like very little comeback strategy for you. Very little that you have the availability to do. But I, as a man, you could say cope or not, because it is very difficult to increase your economic standing, right? Very few people do it. You could say it's cope or not. I have a shot, a real shot at being able to do it. I just need to put in more work.
Credit for something.
Ugly women can work hard too, but it tends to be that less attractive women get treated poorly, more poorly than less attractive men in these circumstances, because women are valued more on their physical appearance. You understand? Women are seen as their value being primarily around the way that they physically look. And then, so if you agree with the idea that women are going to get significant boons from being really attractive, do you not think a woman who is really ugly is going to get significant negatives? And especially on the fact that they are valued on that attractiveness? Do you think society treats ugly men well? Nope, never said that. What I said is they treat ugly men better than ugly women. Most men are desperate. They would date ugly women in a heartbeat. It's not about dating. Why do we view every single problem about dating? I know I talk about dating shit quite often on this. Not everything is about dating. Not everything is about fucking having sex. Some things are about in the workplace. An unattractive woman is not going to be seen as somebody that anybody wants to work with or anybody wants to be around. It is very difficult to be able to get these things done. Like what Steven is talking about when he says an attractive woman is going to have prospects and she's not going to know whether or not those prospects are genuine. An unattractive woman is going to lose a lot of prospects because not a lot of people are going to want to work with her. And she's going to have to fight harder for the same position that I might have as an ugly man because people are going to view the merits of my work more on those merits and less on the way that I physically appear. I thought Destiny didn't do great in this debate. He made the right points, but I think overall they made him look pretty soy. Do you have any sections you would want me to look at? It's the opposite side of pretty privilege, exactly. I don't know. We all agree women are disproportionately valued based on their looks. You would have to agree then, therefore, that an ugly woman would be disproportionately mistreated than an ugly man. Yes? You would have to agree with this. We are disproportionately treated based off of what we provide and produce. Huh? If I produce very little, I'm going to get treated worse than a woman that produces very little. If I produce a lot, I'm going to get treated better than a woman who produces a lot. A woman who is more attractive is going to get significantly more than a man who is attractive. And a woman who is very unattractive is going to get less than a man who is unattractive. This is how that system works. We're just valued for different things. What is the issue? Not off the top of my head, just the whole thing. I just assumed you were watching. Got it. Plenty of ugly women get treated better than ugly men? What do you, like, in what way? They can get sex more readily, sure. Again, if we're going to do it one-dimensionally, sure. Yeah, they can get laid more. Is that why 90% of homeless are men? What? Is because... No, I think 90% of homelessness is being men has to do primarily with the fact that a lot of the women who would otherwise be homeless tend to be single mothers and are living in poverty, or they find some dude who would provide for them. Women have a lot more outs financially than men do because men care significantly less about dating a broke woman. Like, I literally don't care. I know plenty of guys that don't care. It's not really something I consider. I don't care at all. I've dated multiple, of the women I've dated, yeah, I don't know. No, it's not been an issue. A woman not making any money doesn't matter to me. An ugly woman can still get a dude, though? I don't understand what's the issue here. Ugly man can possibly never have a woman? Sure, possible. Sure, it's possible. I don't understand. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about dating. I'm talking about life in being able to provide for yourself. If you think the end-all be-all is dating, then fine. You could say that women have it easier because at the end of the day, they can find a guy, right? You could say that. That's okay, right? What I'm talking about, and I think ugly women are still going to have a very difficult time finding a guy that provides for them. I think most of the guys who would provide for them probably would provide for other people, or just choose to not be in a relationship and look further. I don't think there's this bastion of ugly women who all get provided for. But I agree with you, an ugly woman can be provided for. It's not impossible. Jesus Christ, I nearly choked. What I'm stating is that ugly women are going to have a harder time being able to self-actualize being able to provide for themselves. They're going to find it very difficult to be able to work inside of a workplace with coworkers. They're going to have it more difficult to find individuals help them with their work, their schooling and shit like this. Are going to feel a lot more ostracized than even ugly men might. Because again, people value women's attractiveness more than they value men's attractiveness. Ugly versus overweight, you got to be careful what you mean. I mean, in the colloquial sense, it has significant overlap, right? Most of the time, women who are obese or overweight are considered colloquially unattractive.
As much as I like to believe it, it's not because some woman wants to fuck me.
No.
It's because I'm actually succeeding somewhere,
so
right?
they all want to fuck you, bro.
Sure, yeah.
The only reason I have you on the show is because we're all trying to fuck you.
But for like a woman, yeah, you legitimately have no fucking idea. Like, am I performing well? My boss giving me a lot of compliments. My coworkers seem to like me. Am I getting a leg up everywhere? Because you do get a lot of help. If you're a woman in computer science, you're the only woman in the class. Well, at least for white women, you're getting a lot of fucking help in that class compared to anybody else.
Let
right?
me recap what you just said, bro, because that's
yeah.
very powerful. If you're a hardworking, working, attractive woman, then what?
You never know, like, are you successful on your own merits, or is everybody around you just gaslighting you into thinking that while they're trying to fuck you?
I think a woman would know. A woman.
No, I don't think that's true.
You would know, like, oh, I really.
Dude, I have these mints, and I got one down to like a fine like blade, like a disc. It's like a plate. It was very like sharp on the edges, and I accidentally swallowed it. So I'm like afraid it's like slicing up my esophagus all the way down to my stomach. Jesus.
Put in work, like I achieved this recognition because this work it's phenomenal. Versus like you can tell by how they address you, how they speak with you. Because I do agree with you. You're in a workplace, and there are men who want that intention. But as a woman, you can approach that situation knowing that that's their intention. So I think as a woman, like you can determine, like, am I getting this credible? Am I getting credit based on my work, or am I getting credit based on my looks? Like, as a woman who is attractive, like you can tell. Like you can tell when a man's flirting with you. You can tell when a man wants something from you. You can see that.
I think I would agree with you for the most part, but I think there's two things. One, I think every attractive woman goes through a point in her life where she realizes, like, fuck, a lot of this has come from my looks. I think that comes a little bit later than, at least as a guy, we would assume. Right. And then two, I think that it gets really hard around like edge cases where you're like trailblazing, right? If you're like in a sales department and you've got like fucking numbers, right? And you can see like, obviously I'm outperforming, that's fine. But if you're working in like entertainment, or if you can reach out to like CEOs of companies and they're calling you back, or if you're getting like invited to podcasts or whatever, there's always this like whatever. And I think a lot of guys are really good at disguising their intentions, where a guy can treat you in the most respectful manner possible until you're traveling to some fucking convention in the same place somewhere, and then he tries to get you drunk and rape you. I think that it's really, really difficult sometimes to feel out like the fuzzy edge cases. If there's guys that are like blatantly sucking up to you, you can tell. But I think it's just a weird thing for women to always have that in the back of our head, whereas for guys, there's not a time in our lives.
You can make that argument for a really successful guy.
I don't agree with Destiny on that. There is no, for guys, we never have those experiences. I don't agree with that. We don't have the same experience around being attractive, but we absolutely have. There are many different guys that have experiences similar to that. Let's talk about connections that you have, friendships, and whatever shit. Right? Like nepotism still exists for men. You have instances of you being an attractive guy. I would say Hassan is one of these people who a lot of his career is probably staked on him being an attractive guy. And of course, pushing a very popular like agenda. So I think that there is aspects of that. There's also aspects of like you being potentially related to somebody and then having that work. So I agree, by and large, more women are going to have this kind of gaslighting experience. I think so. I think by and large, there's going to be more attractive women who have this experience. Actually, I don't know. Because I've met a lot of attractive dudes that are extremely delusional about the way that life works. In general, like a lot of attractive dudes that say shit like, just walk up and talk to this chick, like nothing is going to go wrong or whatever, because their entire life, their only lived experience has been quite successful with talking to women, or like say, hey, try this out or that out, that only works because they're attractive guys, or they think that they're entitled to certain actions happening to them as a result of them being like attractive or wealthy men. I don't know. I think the delusion and the kind of gaslighty experience, I think it can be that. I don't know. I don't know if I agree.
Never know if the girl's into him for him or his money.
Very good point.
That is true as
Very
well.
good point. Go deeper.
I think it's better for
you're
women to
saying
hide
for a
that.
guy,
if you're
the
a guy
more
would be-
successful
Hide
you are, you're like, does she love me for me, or the fact that I make $1 million?
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Exactly that. I can't have any friends when they're rich people. But again, this would occur even if you are a man or a woman, right? If you're a woman who's wealthy, in theory, you do have to worry about this, but if you're a man, you have to worry a lot more. Because again, men are valued more on the resources and what we provide. So if I have resources and I provide a lot, there's going to be a lot of women who want that, and I'm not going to know whether or not they're genuine. I don't believe you can ever know. I don't believe it's possible. I don't think it's possible to truly know whether or not people around you want you for your money or not. I don't think it is. I think people can be very convincing.
A year? That's something that's a very good point.
You know who's even better at disguising their intentions than men? Women are. Women are much better playing the game.
I agree with you.
Go ahead, Alex. Play with fire. Go deeper, buddy.
We don't talk about the women that flirt with their bosses to get ahead too.
Yeah.
Of course.
So a lot of times, like these girls will flirt with their bosses and then play victim later.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
fundamentally
Okay,
agree on
Trip.
that. But Alex, I want to kind of stay where you were at. You're saying, all right, cool, we're shitting on guys and being kind of shady or whatever.
Women can,
Holy
women can-
shit, some of
women
these
can be
girls.
just as shady when they're messing with a successful guy, especially in Miami. And a lot of these rich guys, they get completely screwed. They are like, fuck, they get drained for all their money because they fucked with the wrong girl and then she took pretty much everything.
What have you seen? Have you seen an
I've
actual
seen,
example?
I've had countless clients who've had that happen to them. Yeah, they got married early, then their business became successful, or they got married when their business was already successful to the wrong kind of girl, right? So screening is important for both genders. I don't think it's only something that women have to screen with the people in their life. Men also have to screen.
Real quick, that could be possible. I would be curious what type of guy it is. Maybe because this might be my bubble because of the industry that I work in. But it's very easy for me to tell immediately how a girl feels about me, if she's like fake or not. Because like you either know everything that I'm involved in or not. Like if a girl came up to me,
oh shots,
and she wanted to have like an in-depth conversation about like fucking fiscal policy to try to fake me out for my money. I mean, I'll pay her off. Like good job.
You don't think women can, wait, you don't think
You got
women,
me, girl.
You don't think a woman can tell when a guy's trying to fuck them? Most women can tell that too.
No, I think women can tell, but I'm just saying that like if a woman is trying to just like get in good with me because she thinks I've got money, like I think I'm gonna be able to weed that out really fucking fast.
No, maybe him, but like for a lot of guys, no, absolutely. And not only this, I think things change. I think things can change. They could be genuinely interested in you, and then they lose interest, but you got guap. You could be friends with a person, and they could genuinely be friendly with you, but then they realize there's a bag. Things can change, and that's why you can't make no new friends, or whatever the fuck the rappers constantly talk about. You can't make no new friends.
Here's what I want to address. Here's what I want to address. If you're that dude and you're having success and you're doing things in your life and you're single and you're out there, what type of question should you ask these women to vet them? Because I totally agree with you. There's women out there that see a dollar sign on a guy and they're like, sugar daddy just walked in. Like there's a video of a girl that she's like, here's the best place to find a sugar daddy. You don't go to clubs. You don't go to strip clubs. You go to the nice restaurants because there they are. They're all together. I call it the sugar daddy watering hole. I've seen this girl do this video. And she's like, they're all at the nicest restaurants in Miami or New York or LA, whatever. And they're all eating together doing their thing. So you, as a dating coach, what types of questions should a man ask women up front to kind of vet what the woman is looking for?
I think it's less about questions and more about not leading with your money. So I like the Dave Chappelle joke where he says, like, when I have a date, I drive up in a dumpster truck. And then when the girl's like, oh, I don't want to date a dumpster driver, he's like, I'm Dave Chappelle, bitch. So I kind of like that like whole idea that you're not taking the girl to a fancy restaurant. You're not leading with your money. You're not like showing off your car. You're keeping all that hidden until you get to know her. And if she legitimately fucks with you without seeing all your wealth, then it's like a nice cherry on the top. So that's what I would recommend.
I feel like that
never
is
lead with
a
your money.
very idealistic, hey, I just happen to be Dave Chappelle answer, but that's not the reality because we live in Miami. You know what it's like. You kind of got to give a little bit of crumbs, a little bit, and then you can kind of reveal. But okay, but even to get the date with the girl.
Nah, I think that's kind of hoe behavior. I think I'm cool with saying that's a bit of hoe behavior. If the entire sea of women is undateable, except for if you drop that you're wealthy, like that's the only. First off, cope, because then nobody in Miami would be able to date women who aren't wealthy. But if that was the case, a lot of you are hoes, and I wouldn't date any of them. Like, I know that's like whatever shit, some forehead shit, but a lot of them are hoes then. But whatever the fuck. Hey, to the streets you shall return. Fuck that shit. But I think this tends to be a caricature of how this works. No, I don't believe that's how that works. Dudes lie about wealth in Miami. Do you think every single dude in a relationship lies about their wealth? You should never date someone who only wants to date you for your money? Yeah. That's why they rent Ferrari. You think every single dude who's in a relationship rents a Ferrari who's in Miami? All women belong to the streets? Joshua, you're on thin ice. Say some shit like that again, you're going to get Discord or banned. A lot of guys to get in the front door. I think a lot of guys might lead with their money, but this is a completely different statement too. You need to do it to be able to date. If you need to do it to be able to date, fuck these bitches. 100%. Fuck these bitches. If I need to lead with my money, if I need to give you money before anything for you to like me, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Grow the fuck up. Get the hell out of here. I'm not going to give you gifts and cross my fingers that you like me. No. There's absolute degeneracy. No way, no how. Could you imagine that? You want to be friends with me, and I say, okay, for the chance to be friends with me, you have to pay me money. Allah! What? For the chance to be friends with me, you have to pay me money. Disgusting behavior. Depraved behavior. There's no guarantees. Ridiculous. The idea that all women in maybe a very specific like neighborhood, whatever, sure, but like the idea that like all women in Miami operate this way, then fuck it. They belong to the streets. I don't care. They need to grow the fuck up and actually have an adult in their life teach them how to fuck to be a normal person. You gotta pay on the first date though? Fuck like hell you do. Find you well, if you want to date a conservative woman, you do. If you want a traditional woman, then you better get traditional real quick. If you want a traditional woman, you better get traditional real quick. Cypher, thank you for the 5 memberships. But I'm a liberal guy, huh? I'm a progressive. We're doing this by the old ways, huh? Halvesies.
Like, if you're just some dude at the bar, you're going to have to say something to be like, well, I do this for work, and I do this. Like, I'm not saying you have to drive up in your Lamborghini and take her to home to your mansion, but you have to say, like, well, yeah, I'm actually, like, I own this bar. Or, like, yeah, my friends own this bar. Or, yeah, like, I'm an attorney, or whatever. You're going to have to give them some sort of game. But you do have to have a conversation, ask some questions. So I fully agree. Don't just let the money do the talking for you, but you do have to ask some questions.
I think you got to be cognizant of
what questions would you actually ask them?
I don't think there's a specific question I would ask the girl. I think I would just literally not do any of the stuff you're saying. I would not, if I was the owner of the bar, if I was just trying to get laid, yeah, sure, I would use that to my advantage. But if I was looking for a relationship, I would leave all that part out. I would not stress the fact that, I'm friends with the owner. I would leave all that out. I think you can also just have good game and make the girl laugh and build a lot of sexual tension and lead with that instead of leading with possessions of money.
I think I actually just answered my own question, and I think that the answer is you need to ask them questions.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a specific question. I think I just answered what I was trying to ask you. I see this problem, whether it's in business or whether it's in dating,
once
guys
again,
just want to talk
5.
about themselves. And it's like, selling isn't telling, selling is asking. Okay, so, hey, what are you doing here? Who you here with? What are you guys looking to do tonight? And if you're getting, like, you'll get these answers. Yeah. We're just trying to find a dude with a yacht. If I had a fucking dollar for every time a girl said that, I'd be fucking gazillionaire. We're just trying to find a yacht to party on. It's like, cool, good luck with that yacht. If they're like, hey, yeah, I'm just visiting like my grandma and I'm in town, it's like, cool, family values, got it, boom, boom. asking questions is the best thing you could do.
I guess you could ask.
I think you're saying there's no specific questions, which I think there are.
I changed my mind about, actually. You could ask what type of guys does she usually date. You could ask about her
Okay, well, there we go,
relationships.
baby. You are changing your mind. There's questions.
You've changed my mind, yeah. You could ask that, yeah.
So what questions would you ask?
I would ask about her, like, once we're already talking or vibing, I would ask about her last relationship. I'd be like, oh, yeah, so what kind of guys are you usually into?
Yeah.
I would start off with that. She would tell me, be like, oh, cool. So are you with the tip?
Now that he got me thinking about it, you could ask, this is a good one. Why did your past relationships fail? This is a great one. Because if they tell you all of the guys I've dated are narcissists, that, in my opinion, is such a big red flag, it's a no-go zone. It's such a big red flag, it's a no-go zone. You don't do it. That is a narcissist. Like, no way. It's not possible, okay? In my opinion. But if you ask some dude, what is his past partners like, and he says, yeah, I've dated like 3 or 4 women and they've all just been crazy, man, they're all crazy, that's a no-go zone. Okay, that nigga crazy. Right? No, it's I think you'll learn I think you can inquisit a fair bit of that. Are you saying narcissists attract other narcissists? No, what I'm saying is they don't know what the fuck a narcissist is, and they're just saying that shit about people that have done them wrong. And they're going to say that about you when you don't come home with the proper groceries or some shit. Nah, I don't fuck with that shit at all. Like Abba said, you would think that all of these women are dating like 1% of the population on loop, because there is very little narcissists actually out there. And what they're just doing is throwing a label, a very, charged label on a group of people they don't like. And it's just cringe. It's unbecoming of an adult. Like, maybe if they're 16 years old, you give them the pass or whatever. But like, no 24-year-old woman should genuinely be looking at their past partners and go like, yeah, I've dated 5 guys and all of them turned out to be psychos or narcissists. Really? Even if I agree that's true, there's something weird about you that's probably attracting those kinds of people. And I don't want anything to do with it. I'll go find someone else. That's my opinion.
Miami sugar baby, and then see how she responds to that.
Yeah.
She'd be like, no, my last guy was broke. Okay, that's something. Or she's like, well, I do like millionaires, and that's a different story.
I think the question that we asked yesterday is actually probably one of the first questions you should ask a girl. How's your relationship with your dad? Yeah. I don't think you're gonna ask that on the first date. Don't get me wrong.
No shot. You actually asked that to a woman. It is dead on sight, bro. That fucking dude. No shot. No way. You would say 100%. You would say parents. Like, if you were even trying to edge out with your dad, you would say parents. Oh my god. To say father, holy shit, bro. It's over. On sight.
I mean, Arnold, the first time you're not gonna go up to a girl in a bar and be like, "Hey, how you doing? Can I buy you a drink? How do you get along with your dad?" But I think that is a very important question to ask a girl. Like, I don't think it's a very weird situation. I don't think it's a coincidence that Pearl is the girl she is, and she has an amazing relationship with her father. I think that is the reason that is the girl as she is. Would you agree or disagree?
No, I agree. I look up
Give
to
a shout out to your dad right now,
shout
real
out, Dad.
quick.
No, I look up to my dad a lot. Like, a lot of I don't know. I feel like a lot of the reasons like I do things that I do is like I was always trying to like make my dad proud. Which is kind of lame, I know, but I don't know. Sorry.
I think your dad is really
sorry.
Okay. What, like, dude, I'm gonna give you some credit here. I've seen your girl. She's cute. You get girls.
Okay.
Despite the pajamas, you get girls.
It's because of the pajamas.
It's because of the
I like to stand
pajamas.
out, you know?
That's
In a room
is that-
full of guys with suits.
Is
I'm
that
the
what they
only one
call
in
you, the
sweatpants.
tripod? That's what they called you in high school,
Exactly,
right?
yeah, of course.
Respect. What was your game when you're talking to girls? Like, what kind of questions are you asking? What's your game, right? Like,
This is the secret sauce.
Cuck shit in the world. I don't mean to make it sound that way, but yeah, just like treating people like normal fucking human beings usually works. That thing that you just said about asking questions is that's not even a good. It's a good pickup technique, but that's a good conversational technique. Period.
That's just
right?
good for humans.
Yeah, if you're talking to people
Yes.
and you ask them questions and you
Yes.
refer back like jokingly to things they've said, like it creates in the other person's mind that you have a huge interest in that person.
Yeah.
It is exceedingly rare that a guy or a girl on a date gets asked a lot of meaningful questions about who they are, where they come from, what they want to do, how they feel about things. If you can be the person to give somebody that conversation, it leaves them like, I'll have conversation, I'll come back. The person doesn't know a fucking thing about me because they didn't say shit. And they're like, oh yeah, like I feel like a really good conversation last night. Like I remember that like a lot. So that's like a really good starting point, I think, is being
But
able to talk to somebody, connect to
I
somebody.
will say that you are smarter than most, and you do have a gift of gab. So you're better than most. So you've got, like...
Bro, what do you mean? Treating people like normal human beings could work if you look good. Homie, this is what he looks like, and it works for him. So you have two options now. Either you need to recognize that this is a giga chad. Listen, I love Steven. You either need to say this man is a giga chad, or you need to say that he's lying. Like, bro, your whole ideology is coming crashing in on your fucking head. Blue hair, niche magazine. Like, come on, man. Like, listen, I love Steven, but he ain't no fucking giga chad. You get me? Those crystal blue eyes, yeah, it's what it is.
Someone said this the other day. They said, you know, like women want
give the man a better pause
to be
face.
present, and then they said that the protecting thing. You might have even been you.
I think so.
I
think the protecting
it was
cope.
being a verbal protector, meaning like some girls want a guy who's a protector. You thinking, oh, he's going to protect you, but sometimes it's just a guy who's quick and sharp and that can defend his woman.
That's true.
Verbally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's you.
Like somebody that's confident but not meek. I think confidence is always a good trait for all men.
1000% agree.
For sure.
If you ask a girl, like, give me your top 3 qualities, you probably asked a girl this a million times.
It's got to be funny one, right? Yeah.
You're always going to get funny, smart, handsome, attractive, good looking. There's like things that go down the list. Confidence is at the top 3 of every woman's list. Have you not heard that a million times?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think
dating
confidence it even bleeds into other things as well. Like the type of humor that you can employ sometimes will come down to how confident you are around a person and everything too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh my! So I would say it's funny you say that. My buddy would say he would go, so, dude, you say things to girls that if I said to them, I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
But he's like, because you do it in a confident, joking manner, you get away with it. He's like, I don't know how you do it. I was like, well, number one, you're creepy as fuck, dude. So you probably got to work on that. Not you, to my buddy.
No, I know what you mean.
But I'm very playful with it. Like,
Yeah.
so for instance, I'll give you one example. You're like, all right, give me an example. How many times have you been in this situation? All right, so hey, like, we're gonna go back to my place and we're gonna have fun later or whatever. She goes, you're not a murderer, right? And I'm like, oh no, yeah, I'm gonna murder you. Yeah, 100%. Like, you lean into the joke. She's like, ha ha ha. Well, like, if you're like, no, I would never murder you. It's like, that's exactly what a murderer would say.
You say yes, we're more
Yes.
likely to go.
So I'm just point is like,
Bro, I'm never gonna try that shit. That shit, bro, no.
like there's
That's
things you
weird.
could joke about.
There's a really good example of this on
Yes.
it was on one of those fucking dating panel shows or whatever. I bet everybody here has seen it. But it's the clip of the girl is like, I think she's like, let's say we get into a fight over something. What would you do? And there's like one guy that I think he's like in a hoodie and sweats or whatever.
Oh,
He's
I
saying,
remember that one,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
saying like, well, first I would gaslight you into thinking it was your fault. Then I would ignore you for 3 months to create dependency. Then afterwards, maybe go out for a movie or something like, or whatever. It was a really funny answer. And it showed a lot of insight into like a lot of things. Like a lot of dumb people came away from that thinking like, wow, she picked him just because he's an asshole. But the reality was the answer was funny. It was clever. It
Yes.
showed insight into a lot of dating pitfalls. And I think that like things like that are why the person like opted towards that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that on Always Sunny? What was that?
No,
It was some random dating
Yeah.
YouTuber.
It was some
thing.
YouTube dating show.
Is it like a
where-
Jubilee thing or something?
It was like a
I don't
Jubilee knockoff.
so.
It
Yeah, it's a
wasn't
knockoff.
Jubilee.
Yeah, it was like a knockoff thing. I remember it.
Yeah.
But by the way, that comes from confidence. Having enough confidence to be like, all right, I'm gonna throw some fucking weird shit this girl's way, see what she
sure.
says.
Although
And
I
she
will
ate it
say-
up yesterday.
I don't think it just is that. And again, this is going to come to my issue with people's definition of confidence. I don't think confidence means you're good at jokes. I don't think that's what that means. Confidence, wit, banter are different things, right? You could be very witty and have a very good banter and lack the confidence to be able to put that out towards the women that you might want to be able to get. But like, I don't think it's just confidence. It's being witty and being banter. You can be confident without being witty and having banter. Like, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, of course, you love it,
Okay,
yeah.
she loved
But you can go wrong there, too. There are times where you can lean too hard. Like, you miss some.
Yeah, go on.
I was just saying that you missed something.
Is there an example you're thinking of? You're laughing.
There was some girl. Sometimes when I go back to Omaha, I'll hop on Tinder. I'll see if I can hang out with somebody for a day or two. And this happened like a year or two ago. But I remember there was some girl. We wanted to go out to eat. And usually, if I've got them like out to like go eat, usually we're good at that point. And I don't remember what it was. She was a big Trump supporter. And usually, like, I can joke a lot, like, politically, people are cool. But I made a joke that was pretty hard, and I could tell from the rest of the dinner, she was
What
like...
was the joke?
I don't remember. It was something
Here's
something about,
the most
like...
awkward joke ever, Destiny.
No, it
go.
wasn't even awkward. It was something about... She was complaining about something about Pelosi's pens or something. She used, like, gold pens to sign some shit. And I think I made a joke about Trump buying cheeseburgers. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't even that edgy of a joke, but I could tell she got, like, really mad. And by that point, she was, like, done. So there's probably times you could push too hard, and it's like, oh, fuck, you fucked up.
Question for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Because you have a open relationship with your girl.
Yep.
And you also have an open relationship with your girl.
One-way open relationship, but yeah.
Okay. She's sitting right there. How you doing? That's not...
Oh, all right, Derek, or Drekken, sorry. We had this conversation before, and apparently we need to have it again. You've been running amok inside of my fucking channel. You had 2 minutes to get inside of Discord, buddy. I don't know why the fuck you came back in with the thing that we already disagreed about. Get the hell in Discord, man.
I just want to clarify that real quick.
It's one way, okay? Don't you be looking at the cameraman. You're looking for a husband. I think you'll make a great wife.
Sorry, just to be clear, this is a Discord or ban. You have 2 minutes to get inside of the Discord, right? You can stop talking about gender and dating, or you can leave the stream, come back later when you're actually able to join the Discord and have the discussion, or you can stay and get banned. So, please take these 2 minutes to get inside of Discord. Well, again, yes, because you're doing the same dumb shit.
When you meet these girls, let's say in Omaha, are you more interested in meeting a liberal girl that you get along with, or meeting a conservative girl that you kind of want to hate fuck?
I can't hate fuck somebody. I can't hold two contradictory things.
Thank you. Finally, somebody that says it. Finally, somebody, I can't hate fuck people either. If I don't like you, I don't want to have sex with you. I consider sex to be a very mutual thing. I very much cannot do that. I can't do it. If I hate you, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be near you. Sex is a mutually beneficial action. And if I fucking hate you, I do not want to have sex with you. Fuck that.
Like that in my mind. Okay. Like if I'm horny and I get upset about something, like we can't fuck.
All right. So who are you more interested in? Who's wilder in the bedroom?
I think you can get along with all types of people. I don't think that people's political opinions have very little to do with how they conduct themselves in real life.
Very. I'm not sure if I agree with that. With the shit that you would care about for like a friendship or something, yeah. Like, I've been friends with conservatives, and for, like, the shit that you would do with them, like, doing an activity, playing video games, or doing whatever, has very little correlation with any of that shit, for sure. Like, yeah. I've been friends with, like, some of the most bigoted, terrible people, racist people or whatever, but ass meets grass, they just play video games, and they play it well, and it's fun. Who really cares? But it definitely does affect the way that they operate IRL, for sure. Hey, Drekken, I'm not seeing you in Discord, and it's been 2 minutes. I'll give you a little bit longer, but you got to get in there, dude. What's the holdup? Get in Discord. You know what the link is. You know how this works. You've already been in there. Get in a voice channel. Didn't he leave? Did he leave? Oh, he left. Okay, never mind.
Was something that
so?
got wiped from my fucking mind over the past 5 years.
A lot of my friends have been like liberal.
I've talked to so many conservatives that are like, all my conservative friends, they all do fucking drugs, they're all fucking sluts, they're horrible people. On my progressive side, a lot of them are fucking racist, losers, they treat people like shit. Like, I don't think that like, your political opinions have nothing to do with you as a person.
No, he's not going to get banned. I'm just going to assume that they're going to leave and then maybe come back later when they're able to talk. Or if they do not, when they come back, I'll deal with it. Like, if they come back saying the stupid shit again, I'll be like, okay, now you don't have an opportunity to leave, and now you have 2 minutes to get inside of Discord. But, yeah, leaving is an option. because it's primarily about the disagreement.
I feel like it's more
I
like
agree
your
with you.
personality traits
Yeah.
versus I get along with people that are more extroverted too and just like more similar.
Mm.
Like I find that that's more.
By the way,
more than
if
politics.
you talked about like disrespecting and all that, whatever, but so there's this term like toxic masculinity these days, which I think is just an
A
absurd
great term.
I
Describes
think
a
it's
lot
a
of
great
toxic
term.
masculine traits,
So
yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
there's just
God.
toxic people. I think there's toxic women that you should stay the hell away from. I think there's toxic men who are fucking idiots and cavemen. You should stay away from them. I think it's an unfair label.
There are traits that are unique to men that get toxically exemplified, no?
Such as?
Like the ability to never show any emotion ever and to be a stoic person that keeps it all inside and like never fucking
There's a
communicates
lot of
anything.
benefits to being a stoic, though.
Not a
But I
healthy
would say
stoic that processes and doesn't repress everything.
Yes.
But like you should be able to have I think that not being able to have a conversation relating to your emotions, I think is a huge sign of insecurity and weakness.
Yeah, but there's a difference between having emotions and being a human and being an emotional man. There's a
yeah,
big
but this
difference.
is like you guys don't believe. Why do you bring this up? Like you will. Okay, every time. Okay, you might not believe this. I'll give you a little bit of credit. Okay, and I don't think Alex does. I don't know about you. Okay, people will do this shit where they'll be like, oh no, when we say like don't be overly emotional, what we mean is like don't cry all the time and blah 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 blah. If that's all you were saying, I'd be cool with that. But a lot of these people here are like, if you ever show any vulnerability to your woman ever, she'll leave you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not, but it's not like.
It's true. What?
Like Freshman Fit says that all the time.
Yeah, and that Hamas guy
Yeah,
that wears the
Hamza.
robes all the time,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever the
Hamza.
fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who.
So I agree with, and I imagine Destiny would disagree with. I agree with the idea that a lot of the times where you will show emotion to women naturally, natively, they're going to be less attracted to you. Most women. Now, does it mean if you show any, will they be less attracted to you? No. But in most circumstances, if you were like as emotional as women are allowed to be, you would lose respect from most women, right? Like, I feel like this is pretty true. I mean, I've seen women cry about like not getting fucking food from a fast food place. If you do this, you're gonna lose respect from women around you. Your women are not gonna want to date you and shit like that. And just to be clear, you're gonna lose respect from men as well. But yeah, no, I think this is generally true. Men are not allowed to socially show as much emotion as we would like them to. I don't think this is like a man-only thing that is toxic only on men. Like it's like, for instance, if I was an individual who was very uncomfortable with showing emotions in front of other people, I don't think this is solely on me. I think a lot of this has to come from the fact that probably a lot of people around me didn't allow me to do so and negatively reinforce that. I don't think men just are born and they're like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to show emotion. That's not something I want to do. I think what happens is you might have confided in a woman. She used it against you inside of a fight when you cried and shit like that. And you're like, I'm never going to cry in front of a woman ever again. And that is unreasonable, but I think it's often weaponized against men. As a man, I know that when I have cried, it has been weaponized against me quite fervently. It happens very consistently. I'll cry in front of people and then it'll be like, it'll be fine then, but then a fight later comes down the line and then it's like, you know what, you're just like a crying little bitch. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You cried like 15 times like a week. And I cried like once within 9 months. And then now this is your fucking pocket ace? Like, are we serious? I don't know. I think I've heard Destiny say you have to earn those vulnerable moments. I agree with that. I think you have to earn those vulnerable moments. I agree with that. But I think that's kind of where it comes from, no? Is that there's a lot of men who don't understand how to earn those vulnerable moments. It's very esoteric to figure out how to do it. But yeah. You got to define earn? Yeah, which is the hard part because it's person to person. Right, there are just straight up, and maybe he'll disagree. There are just straight up some women you can never cry in front of, just straight up. But these are the most toxic, like the equivalent of a man child, but for a woman child. I don't know how you say a little girl, like a fucking whatever shit that exists. These are some of the most toxic, terrible people, but I believe they exist. I think there's like 22, 23-year-old women who straight up, if they ever see their man cry, it's like. And it doesn't even have to be conscious. It could be unconscious, like, I don't know, it wasn't really like I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And then, like, that's the end of it. And I think that's where a lot of these guys get that from, is they've shown emotion in front of women before, and then it's just cooked them. It's just fucking cooked them. I don't think this is very many, though. If I had to put a percent, maybe fucking... Of the women you can never earn their shit, maybe sub 1%. I think very little women you can never earn. Like, if your fucking mom dies, right? And you cry in front of your girlfriend, like, you'll be fine. Like, you'll probably be fine. That'll probably be something that, yeah, you'll be fine. But, so we're talking a very marginal thing. But we have very little breathing room on being able to show emotion. Right now, so maybe this is a little bit more controversial. Right now, men are held to a standard about being able to show emotions, even from progressive women, that is unhealthy. We are not allowed to show as much emotion as we should be able to, even amongst progressive women. Maybe that's a contentious point of view, but I agree with it. I think women's espoused, and just to be clear, men, I'm just talking about it from this perspective because I think as a man, we tend to the idea that we can't cry in a relationship to women primarily comes from things that, like, relationships that we have had or arguments that we've had in relationships or whatever. But so that's why I'm saying specifically to women. I think it is also, there are men that shit on other men for crying. But either way, I think progressive people in general, including progressive women, often have their social views ahead of how their emotions feel. And so they'll say, yeah, I'm perfectly cool with a man who cries and who has healthy attachment to an emotion. But if you did find a man who had a healthy attachment to emotion and he was crying at that proper frequency, showing emotion at that proper frequency, I think they would consider him less attractive. I think they would consider him a crybaby. I don't have high regard for progressive people. I think they often virtue signal rather than actually walking their walk and talking their talk. I think they just talk it. That's it. I think it's very common.
It says what, but the message that I've generally understood is that it's kind of like you just don't know. Every woman's different, and how much emotion that she's willing to put up with differs on the women. So a lot of guys just say it's easier just to not.
I think Destiny actually makes a very valid point here, to be honest with you. There's a fine line. So I like always using a 1 through 10 scale, right? 10 is being like, showing no emotion whatsoever. I will never be vulnerable with my girl. And 1 is being a crying fucking baby. I don't think you should be either. I think you should find a fucking balance. I think appropriate balance is probably being an 8. Being a man, but also having some emotion. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm saying here?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like the number is meaningless. That's going to mean different things to different people. Like an 8 for some person might be like, the only time I'm going to cry is if both my parents die within 12 hours of each other, right? Or some people might mean like an 8 is like, I had a bad day at work and I'm going to vent a little bit. Like it just depends.
I actually think a 1 through 10 is very fair.
All I know is the men that I respect the most in my life, I've barely ever seen cry. So, but
I think that a healthier engagement.
So, again, I'm not trying to say that she is like saying something that is untrue or whatever. I think she probably falls into a category. I think most women would probably agree with it. I think most women, if they actually looked at this shit, would probably agree with it. That some of the men that they respect the most are probably some of the men that they've seen cry the least. It's just toxic. It's the way that it is. I think that's just how it is. Things will change. Things will get better. But if we're talking about the average woman who is like quite, what is it? Isn't the average person, average woman, slightly liberal? They're like a House Democrat, Nancy Pelosi loving liberal. Yeah, I think that's probably true for most women. This isn't to say, again, that you can't show emotion, but it's that you are able to show an emotion. You just have to walk on certain lines. You got to make sure that you've earned it. You got to make sure that she's ready for it. She knows it's coming. She knows why you're doing it. You have to go through a pre-flight checklist of all these things to be able to cry, to be able to show emotion, which is very exhausting. Yeah. Or you can find, you know, some women, because these women exist, and I think there's a fair number of them, who are based, who genuinely would allow you to show your emotions in a healthy way. Yeah, and apparently there's a lot of people sleeping on them. There's not a huge demand for that right now, because a lot of guys just like the idea of being stoic and shit. So there's actually a low demand, decent supply of women that are pretty fucking based. Will let you do.
The question is, I'm going to go back to the thing we said before. I think the confidence is the thing that underpins all of it, right? If I'm upset and you see me upset, and I'm not playing League of Legends, it's because some serious shit happened, right? It's supposed to be like the archetype of like, dad is crying. That means something really bad happened. There's some crazy shit happened, right? So like, yeah, like I think it's okay to get emotional over things, but as long as it's something like serious happened. And I think it's better to be able to show that and share that with your partner than to like keep it all fucking bottled up. But like if you come home and you're like crying because you had like a bad interaction with a customer, yeah, of course. But again, the problem there isn't whether you're emotional or too emotional. It's like it's a lack of like confidence that is like showing like an emotional instability, I think, which is the problem.
I think it's ultimately because we talked about the people that are saying they should never cry, should never do anything like that. I think it's just a backlash to basically what's been happening in society, this feminization of men, and men aren't being real men anymore. There is stats out there that show like how men were more manly World War II serving your country versus men out there. It's like there's guys that, you know.
Of course, yeah. Men are going to be seen as more manly back then because our definition of manly are things that I would argue are not good. They're dated. They're bad. Being seen as a manly individual is not something I want, at least in that traditional sense. What being a man means to one person versus another is completely different. I think Destiny spoke to this. I find the ability to have that emotional maturity to be a manly quality. I think if a woman defines herself as her ability to be able to, you know, control her emotions, to be able to express them, and to really only have these violently emotional response. I say violent. Aggressive emotional responses like crying or sobbing and shit like that only in very specific moments, then, you know, that's a quality she finds to be attached to her womanhood. It doesn't really matter, it's case by case. I apply that to my sense of being a man, right? Is a part of it is understanding, like, being able to handle like small shit and not like get, you know, up and in my shit about like not being able to find a parking spot or something, right? This isn't really something that should disrupt my day so much that I start yelling in the car about it, you know? So yeah, that's I consider that a part of being a man. But I also consider a part of being a man knowing that like there's going to be specific things, and I think it's reasonable for specific things like, I don't know, maybe a breakup or losing of a family member, or a family member contracting a health problem. I consider, you know, those moments of crying be like perfectly fine. And like I sometimes get emotional when I talk or think about the condition that my mom has medically, and I think that's a perfectly fine thing for me to like feel quite upset about and feel emotions. Technically, you're fine for feeling any emotion you want whenever you want or whatever, but I'm just saying that, like, I don't think you should be brought to tears because they're out of Cheerios in the fucking cereal aisle at your local Walmart. I don't think this should bring you to tears.
Grandpa died or like almost gave his life up in World War II, and you're crying over a video game because you got shot and killed. But there is this like coddling of young men today where it's like, the term "man up." They used to be like, "Yo, man up." Now that's like you can get in trouble.
Yeah, but you
for
can't,
telling someone to man up.
I just think as women, like, we're looking for someone that stays strong when shit hits the fan.
Exactly.
And it's not to say that you can never ever show any ounce of emotion, but I just think in general it's better to err on the side of caution.
I think we have to recognize that where we were.
I think what Pearl just said is 1,000,000,000% accurate. That is probably one of the most accurate descriptions at least from my anecdotal experience and what I see, for why women a lot of the times like men who aren't emotional. It's because they want somebody, they want to feel like if shit goes down, you're going to be able to handle this and you're not going to break down and turn into a sobbing mess. You can deal with that shit if something happens. That's like the idea that this guy is capable of handling shock or something crazy happen. I think that's probably true. That's probably why you get less respect if you don't have it or whatever. But yeah, I think that's pretty true.
Before was unacceptable. Where we were 20 years ago was not acceptable. Where men are killing themselves at what, 3, 4, 5 times the rate of women. Where men are too scared to seek help for like psychiatric problems. Where men leave the military and they go fucking.
Has the suicide rate gone down since? I don't actually know. Has it gone down since like 100 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's still higher for men. But I'm just saying, like,
no, I'm saying, no, I meant like.
I think it has gone up.
Every 100 men committed suicide 100 years ago.
It has gone up. Suicide rate with I think suicide rate correlates quite heavily with industrialization and modernization. Like as we get more and more advanced in shit like that, in most countries, I say I'm talking about countries. Like as countries start becoming closer and closer to first world, their suicide rate tends to skyrocket. I think this is just true. Like every country that.
Is it 2 today? Is it 0.5 today?
It's
I
way
just,
more
I
than
just
it
don't
was
know.
100 years ago.
There's more men committing suicide
why
today.
Why are men struggling and committing suicide more than ever now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm asking the question.
No,
I don't actually
but he said,
know.
are those the stats?
I believe it. I looked at this at what debate I did. I think it was like in the 70s. It was like we hit a crescendo with like the most amount of male suicides, and then it's gone down a little bit, but now it's rising again.
So
is that true? That might be true. Maybe he's right. But I feel very confident, based on what I've seen before, could be wrong, very confident that it increases with modernization. Countries do. We saw it in like China as it's become more and more modern in like the fucking blink of an eye. China's gone from third world to first world in like 70 years, literally one lifetime. And we see the increased suicide rates. That come as a result of that. We see that for industrializing countries as well.
By the way, is there? We don't have the answers here, but is it younger men?
No, I think
it's older men. It's like 40s.
People always think it's teens that are killing themselves,
like
but
40s.
I don't think that's the case. The biggest,
it's like 40s.
The bracket is around
45.
45.
Yeah.
I think it's when people are leaving, you get kind of lonely, you get disconnected from the world, and then you're kind of like.
So I have 3 things that are coming to mind here.
Wait. Before your 3 things, I just want to say before that, like, if we're going to do, like, male advice or male empowerment, like, I don't even use the term because I know it triggers the fuck out of everybody, but, like, we have to be able to talk about some concepts related to toxic masculinity that keep men down. And one of those is the inability to process emotions. I'm not saying you've got to go around and be, like, and I admit...
Can I have an example of what that means?
As in, like, when you, like, here's an example, okay? Men cannot have conversations about their emotions ever, okay? If a girl goes out with a guy and she comes...
I don't know how much I agree with about this. I was told, so this was one thing I was told that Destiny said, that it got to me from my IRL friends because they disagreed with it so much. Which is pretty rare that even happens for like anything in general. I think the average man is capable of having maybe not healthy conversations about his emotions, but I think the average man is capable of having conversations about his emotions, especially with other guys. I think that is something that they can do. Not healthy, not all emotions, but some for sure.
Back and she's talking to her friends, right? Oh my God, I met this guy. He was super cool. He's a blah, blah, blah. Like, a guy will go out, meet the woman of his dreams, go home to his friends, and everybody's like, oh, how was it? And the guy's like, cool. And that's all he says, ever, right? This is why, like,
is there something wrong with that?
Yes.
Oh, why?
It's so toxic because men friendships suck. We get so little out of friendships, and I think it's one of the reasons why men are so desperate.
I agree with this, that men's friendships are worse than, by and large, than women's friendships. Data shows this quite vehemently. But I think that we can share emotions, we just don't share it well. Maybe he's being hyperbolic, and when he says we can't share our emotions at all, what he means is we just can't really share it in a way that's very helpful to us. And that's what he means. Because I think if you ask the average dude who is, let's say, 24, I think you ask him, how many talks about women, dating, relationships, and how you feel about women, how you feel about dating, how you feel about your family, how you feel about your future have you had with your friends? They'd probably say a couple. And then there you go. I don't know, maybe they say 5 or 6. I mean, I've had countless amounts, but from everything I've heard of how you speak with your male friends, I honestly think your group of friends are actually exceptional and not the norm. I'm not using my group of friends as the norm. If I was using my group of friends as the norm, every dude would have a healthy relationship with their friends. 0 cap? So what you're meaning to tell me is with your friends, you guys have never talked about like family problems you've had? You've never done that once in your life. Your friend has never gone like, dude, my mom has been fucking hounding me when you're playing PlayStation or something. That has never happened. Absolute bullshit. I completely disagree. No way. Nah, I forget about them. You might forget about them. That might be true. But you had them. I never said that they were healthy. In fact, I said the opposite. They aren't necessarily healthy. But you have had them. I know you have. But you are saying men don't have those combos? No, I didn't. I said the opposite. Men are having those combos. I meant the problems. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was hyperbolic. Okay, so then you've had the conversations. You might not remember them. You might not whatever. You might not value them. They might not be healthy, but you've had the conversations. I think most men have. Like, dude, women suck. They're whatever. Like, man, this shit feels like ass. Like not being able to get a hoe. And then probably his response is, I don't know, just rizz up, bro. Go get some bitches. Or something like that, right? Conversation goes like that. You have conversation about your emotions. They're just fucking terrible. They're fucking god-awful. If I was using my own personal experience, every dude would have a phenomenally healthy conversation with their friends. I fucking cried with just about every one of my friends. Like, probably 3 times I've cried with them about shit that we've experienced in our life that our family has done to each other and that we've emotionally related with. And not just like cried where it's like, oh yeah, it's like whatever. Like we had a heart-to-heart moment about like, hey bro, I'm there for you. Like their parents are fucking splitting up and shit like that. And you know, I'm trying to give them emotional support. They're trying to give me emotional support or whatever, right? That shit happens all the time. I have very good relationships with my friends, I believe. And I recognize they're exceptional and not the norm. And some people use your emotions against you, mocking and bullying. Yeah, that's going to happen if you're a dude. But I'm not trying to say that it's not possible for dudes to do this. I think dudes do this, they just don't do it healthy. And I'm assuming that's what destiny means.
For relationships with women, and I think it also ties into so many other things. It's one of the reasons why I hear women will complain that when they go on first dates with guys, they feel like they're their fucking therapist or their moms. And I think oftentimes because guys have nobody that they talk to in their lives about anything. I think it's why when breakups...
What guys are they dating?
No, this is so common. This is so common. Or it's another big reason is why, like, whenever you see like breakups happen, I've heard a lot of Red Pill guys says women always get so much credit when there's a breakup, and guys always get shit on, like they're always blamed. But there's like cheating going on. Women get so much more leeway than men. It's because when women have problems in their relationships, they're telling all their girlfriends about it, like, oh, my boyfriend does this, my husband does this, and all like it. So when something happens, yeah, they're way more ready to like side with their girlfriend. For guys, you know, again, like the woman might, you know, be fucking like cutting his tires every day before he goes to work, and you know, guys are like, oh, how's everything going at home? You're like, it's okay, and that's like all they fucking say. Like,
I don't. Okay, he's being a bit hyperbolic. I could agree. Yeah, he's being hyperbolic. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume he's being hyperbolic.
Our relationships are really, really, really bad. The way we communicate with each other is really, really, really bad.
I'll use our friend Dave Chappelle as an example here of a story that he told.
Because I know there are tons of dudes that love to tell you about crazy bitches. They love it so much. This hoe is so crazy. She just did this. She just did that. I know so many guys love to talk about how crazy these bitches they just fucked are, how insane this dumb chick was who slashed his tire, fucking threw his shit out his window. I'm assuming what he's talking about is like, I don't know, she's like said he has a small penis or something. Something like that. Got a little bit nasty in a fight or something. And they don't want to tell the boys about it because they don't want to hear shit from their guy. Like, your hoe told you had a small dick, bro? It's kind of cringe, bro. I think that's insight into how it works, bro. She's seen it. I haven't. That's all I'm saying, man.
And I'll give you my feedback. He says that like basically men are just like black and white, more rational. Women are so emotional. Where it's like he did this a whole big stand up. It's like She's like, so what happened? I met Dave, went to the park, punched a guy in the face. That's it. I'm out. That's the man's story. Where the woman's story was like, well, you have to understand that I was on my period that day. And she said something really wrong to me. And then what happened is I was feeling a triggered way. And then what happened was that then Sheila walked in and it's like, Jesus, it's so fucked. I just want to know what happened. So there's two conflicting ideologies and like how men and women operate. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And that's just how men operate. So women, they're always going to be more emotional. It's not about the actual facts of the story. It's going to be how they felt and how you made them feel and whatever. Like, anyway. But as far as men go, I don't know. I can only say what I know. I have homies that I've been friends with forever. I could say everything I want to them up to an extent. Because as a man, you can give your boys maybe 80 or 90% of the story, and there's maybe like 10% of it you'll leave out because you don't want to go, like you don't want to reveal too much to the dude. So I actually agree with what you're saying to an extent, meaning if I had an issue and I was some girl I was seeing, I'd be like, yeah, so we went on this date and this and that, whatever. And I would be like, we would have the surface level conversation just to get it off your chest. But maybe there's a little like, below the iceberg type of thing that you won't reveal. So I don't know if I buy the notion.
That matters.
Well, right. But I don't know if I buy the notion that men have no friends and they have no one to talk to. I would highly encourage men to have friends that they should talk to.
But
100%.
It's not every man.
But there's a difference between saying you would encourage men to have people to talk to, which everybody agrees with, and saying that they do.
There's some men who do. I do also have really good friends I can talk to, but there is a lot of dudes who, yeah, like Destiny is right. Like when they show up on a date, it is like a therapy session because they've been withholding their emotions for so long, and then there's just finally someone, and they spend 2 hours just like complaining to the girl. Yeah,
that's the worst thing a guy could ever do.
I know, but
is that you bottle up all your emotions, you don't talk to your boys, and you're gonna go fucking blow it on a date with a girl when you should be asking questions.
But the reason is because
moron, shut up and ask questions. Now's not the time to be emotional.
All right, emotional.
Some a girl you just met.
Right, but the reason is because he has no one he can share with.
Yep, that's true. That is absolutely true. It's because he doesn't have people he can share it with.
Find a friend, homie.
But part of the emotions is not just being like emotional like a woman and crying. Like there's also anger. That's an emotion that men tend to have as well. And if they don't know how to handle that and maintain that, then that leads to them lashing.
All right, I think I've seen enough for now at least. I gotta go. Gym time, baby. For anybody who's wondering, while I didn't stream later, I did wake up earlier. Okay? I didn't start my stream any earlier, but I did wake up earlier, so we're making progress to pushing the stream time back. I want to push the stream time back. I want to be done streaming a little bit closer to like 10 a.m. Pacific Standard, so like 3 hours earlier than what time it is right now. And I want to start at like 5 or 4 if I can. So that's what I want to do. I think that's better for me. It is less disruptive in my day to do that. So we're gonna shoot for the stars. I will be back tomorrow. You guys have a good rest of your day. I like the standing streams. I'm probably gonna keep up the standing energy for as long as I can. My feet are killing me though. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good